Zelazny might have a run here. He pulls up. 2 laps to go at Auto Club Speedway. What a run this has been. 5 cars out front just dancing around for the lead. Salas back to the bottom. Honeycutt stuck up top. Slide job out of Salas. Crossover out of Honeycutt.
23 showing a big run here. He does.
You see Salas starting to cover it up. He goes up the racetrack. Honeycutt's clear of them both. He shoves it up in front of the 23, gets himself loose. It'll be white flag this time by. Salas down low. Zelazny looking for a hole. Side by side, 3 wide, Coffee in it. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go. Brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams. Who is going to win the Luke's Playhouse 200? Honeycutt controlling the race. Coffee in second. Tires are aging. Zelazny off the top rope. Got a little bit free. He's going to crash with lights. And yes, wall there. Who knows? Honeycutt, though, leading the race. Can Coffee get a run? He's going to send it. He hits him. Big bump and run. Coffee's going to try and get away. Can Salas get there? Coffee's going to crash. Salas is going to crash. Watch Nick Lights here to the stripe. Salas is going to do it with no front bumper.
Unbelievable.
Wow. There's the white flag from Barney the Flagman. 1 lap to go at Long Beach. White flag is out, brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams.
Yeah, can really hold him off. He looked like he's started to gap Cantonio just ever so slightly. Got about half of a second. It's been hovering right around there. Oh, Cantonio really pushing. He's sideways out of turn number 1. But Rayleigh just keeping that car pointed in the right direction. Nice and smooth, able to keep it going. It's going to be tough. Antonio knows that there's not very many chances, even if you can get close enough to him to make a move. So we'll see as they come through 6 and 7, head toward turn 8 onto the backstretch.
Deeper in the field, nothing changing. Lap traffic ahead. It's Kevin Peak and Bradley Alvis right in front of our race leaders down East Seaside Way. And to turn number 9 for the final time. Lap traffic in the way, and Rayleigh goes for it on Peak. He sends it into turn 9. He knows he can't wait. He knows he can't give an opportunity to Kevin Cantonio. Cantonio's going to take it anyway. Ships it into the hairpin, and Rayleigh's going to get away. Thomas Rayleigh is going to be a race winner in the North American Racing League. A last lap bump and run wasn't enough. This man wins at Long Beach.
Wow, what a finish coming through that hairpin. I thought they were all going to wad it up. We had lap traffic in there, staying in there.
NORA is racing into the second half of the regular season tonight, and we're doing it tricky style at the Tricky Triangle. The jury's out on whether this place has 3 corners or 5, but I can assure you, these drivers won't be counting corners tonight. It's a focus solely on points as the chase draws near. Welcome to Pit Stop TV in the virtual Long Pond, Pennsylvania. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV with Zach Murdos alongside, and it's a pleasure to join you for coverage of the NORA Long Pond 300. Today's coverage is brought to you by Harpoon Designs, by NORA, and by Whiplash Simcams. And Zach, we'll keep this bit brief, but man, Pocono Raceway, it is a fantastic place to take some NASCAR-style cars, like we're doing this evening, and go racing. This is a truly tricky racetrack for these cars. It's not like any other racetrack you see on the circuit. It's got 3 very distinctly corner zones, if you will. I say it has 5, you say 3.
Well, Rockingham's also a short track, but you won't admit that either. But Pocono, like you said, based off of 3 distinct corners, you've got turn 3, or turn 4 in your opinion, based off of the Milwaukee Mile. You have got turn 2 based off of turn 2 is based off of Indianapolis. And then turn 1, oh man, turn 1, I always forget turn 1. Thank you, Trenton Speedway. And, you know, I love coming to Pocono. In a sense, it is a home track for me. I grew up in the Williamsport area, so this was a hop, skip, and a jump away. Didn't get to attend many races until the later 2010s, but very, very, very much enjoy this facility. Whatever car we come to this racetrack in always puts on a really good show, and it's one of the longest straightaways in NASCAR.
And this is a truly exciting racetrack, I think, at times. Not always. I'll be honest. Growing up, I always thought this place was boring. I was in the crowd that wanted to see it go, right? But I have come to appreciate the talent required for Pocono Raceway. It is a truly tricky racetrack, and I don't say that just to play into the moniker of the tricky triangle. Cars are rolling off of the grid. I do want to take a look first at point standings coming into this evening, and we'll talk everything Pocono from here on out. But there's a look at things. Nothing has changed, actually, from the prelude a few weeks ago. It is the exact same. So we've kind of gone over this already, Zach, but you see Hunter Sr. on top, nearly 500 points to the good. He's now in that green. He's considered pretty safe, along with Dalton Tucker and Josh Conover. Baumler and Durheim, I would consider them safe, Zach, but behind them, it's too early to say anything. We've still got 13 races to go here before the chase begins, and honestly, I would have a hard time counting anybody out if they're above 17th spot. I think Dustin Cleve is on the edge. Frankly, I think Wayne Sparks not being here tonight might boot him out of contention. Jake Christenberry, though, we're watching him. He is right on the edge of still making it into this chase this season, but I think that window is narrowing very quickly. So as cars roll off the grid this evening and we take a quick look at the series schedule here for the 2005/2026 season, I always get a chuckle when I say that. There we go, Zach. Pocono here this evening. One half of the regular season done, one half to go.
I can't believe we're halfway through the season already.
Right?
It feels like just yesterday we were getting started here, and you know, there's so much still to happen, so much still to go. I mean, we've got Indianapolis and Watkins Glen coming up after this. I'm really excited for where we're going following Pocono, but tonight it's about getting tricky and staying out of trouble.
And drivers are taking their first couple of pace laps around the racetrack. We'll be doing a couple of extra ones this evening, and we're actually going to be turning the music down as these guys get into a version of the Missing Man formation. If you missed it a couple of weeks ago, just before the 2026 Coca-Cola 600, the NASCAR community lost a great. There's no other way to put it. We lost Kyle Busch. It's been all throughout the news. It's difficult to even put into words, Zach, exactly what Kyle Busch meant to NASCAR, and I think a lot, including myself, took him for granted for many, many years of his career. And now, losing Kyle Busch, I think we're all realizing just how much he truly meant to NASCAR, just how great he actually was. Of course, many have realized it for a long time, Zach, but I invite everybody to consider everything Kyle Busch has done for NASCAR, everything Kyle Busch has done for racing as a whole. Of course, he did step into the Daytona 24-hour at times, including dirt races at Millbridge. I mean, he has done it all. So we're going to go silent, and I want everybody to reflect on what Kyle Busch meant to them, what Kyle Busch meant to the sport of motorsport. As these drivers cross over the start-finish line and head down towards turn one, you see they're starting to reassume their starting positions for tonight's 300-mile race here at Pocono Raceway. And immediately just thinking of the name Kyle Busch and here at Pocono, there are memories that come to mind. He had a couple of great wins here, and I think that will be a common theme, not only throughout our NORA season, the rest of 2026, but also across the NASCAR trail. I mean, we saw just how much everybody was reminiscing about the guitar smash at Nashville Super Speedway this past weekend. So it's going to be a dark year, I think, in a lot of ways for the remainder of 2026, but it's also an opportunity to reflect on what Kyle Busch truly meant to all of us, whether we're race fans, industry members, the drivers, the families. Yes, it will be difficult, but it's an opportunity to look back on and smile at everything that Kyle Busch was, accomplished, and even how mad he made you, even if it was 2008 Richmond. Kyle Busch was an integral piece of NASCAR and forever will be remembered as exactly that. Somebody who absolutely helped build NASCAR into what it is today. That said, we must get on with tonight's program. I want to take a quick look at the Whiplash Simcam's race details. We've got 120 laps here this evening, 300 miles at the Pocono Raceway, 77% fuel load, 10 change sets of tires. It's a fixed setup race with single file restarts. It is the usual 2005 program here for us to go racing this evening at Pocono. We have some heavy hearts, but we're ready to go racing. That's exactly what Rowdy would want. Into the restart zone here at Pocono. You see Barney holding that green flag high. We're going to go racing at the tricky triangle here tonight. And Zach, I'll be honest, that might be the smoothest run to turn one I've ever seen at Pocono Raceway.
I think I'm going to wait to see how the rest of the restarts go before I entertain that one. But rolling through the field, look at everyone spreading out, slicing and dicing. Brian Jones trying to move himself up into the second spot. You have got that 8-car of Moats way to the outside line, and Jones is going to sneak on by, take that spot away. Now you've got Tucker to the outside in that number 3 car. He's going to slide on through, or at least try to. That outside line is really, really powerful in turn 3. You get such massive runs. Doesn't quite get it done there, but look at them all fighting down the front stretch.
One lap complete at Pocono Raceway. Clean and green, that opening run around the racetrack. Dalton Tucker already feeling some pressure. Maybe this is a track where the field has something for him as Chase Durheim works to the inside of the number 3. That advance is quickly dismantled as the 16 will fall back into the 5th spot. But there goes Dustin Kleba. I think a driver that everybody has on their radar this evening. Of course, started this race from pole. We didn't even go through the grid this evening. But he started this race from pole position, led us to the green. And he is quickly driving away.
Yeah, building quite the gap. And that's big here at Pocono because it's not really a super speedway, but it has super speedway characteristics, meaning the draft can be very powerful as he sets the quickest lap of the race with no help. We see Durheim down to the bottom, throwing it in there on Tucker, sliding up the racetrack. Well, maybe not all the way. I don't know about you, Andrew, but the first thing that comes to my mind is Charlotte.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how these two navigate this race. Of course, if you recall race number 12 from Charlotte Motor Speedway back early in May, about a month ago now, these two had a bit of a run-in. And even right there, Dalton Tucker barely to the inside of the number 16, but he will peek that nose on the inside, up the racetrack. Watch out. They give each other some room. Here comes Conover now.
That guy.
Yeah, you know, I'm sorry we didn't get to the grid this evening to go through everybody's names. We do have a couple of newcomers in this race, but I just, that pre-race moment all felt very natural. It felt powerful, I think is a good word. But I do want to focus on a couple of those drivers that we are seeing for the first time here this evening. Here is one of them. How about Jourdain White? typically runs over in the BRB Sundance Pro Series. He is filling in this evening and maybe on a larger basis through the remainder of 2026 in the number 29 that, of course, was driven by Kevin Harvick for so many years. But Samuel Longworth has driven this car earlier this season. Jourdain now stepping in to get this team some points. And we might even see him a bit more throughout the course of the year. He is running back in 23rd spot right now, racing with John Skavnicki. Another driver making his first start in the series. How about Caden Perkins? Caden also usually runs over in BRB on Tuesdays. We'll see him on the racetrack Iowa tomorrow night. But Caden has stepped into Dustin Stallings, number 96. Brendan Maddox not here, Dustin Stallings not here, so it's an opportunity for Caden to get a good start under his belt. And again, we might see him run some more races throughout the remainder of this year. And then I think a driver we need to have on our radar for the win tonight, Zach, Jacob Malone. He has stepped into the number 18 that was vacated earlier this season. It's been part-time car for the Joe Gibbs operation here in this series, and Malone led our warm-up session here today. All three of these drivers had to start from the rear of the field. Why, Zach? Because they did not set a qualifying time a couple of weeks ago around the Prelude event that we ran at Eldora. So they all had to start from the rear of the field tonight. Perkins up to 16th, Malone up to 17th, and White into 23rd. Give these guys some time. They're all very capable racers, and they can easily work towards the front.
I think these two, Malone and Perkins, have really started to show that they can contend as they've moved up, but I'm still looking at Jourdain White. He is struggling to find some pace, and that's ironic to say because he was running in the top 10 in the practice session beforehand. Single lap pace is easy, but racecraft and drivability, that's another thing. And Jourdain seems to be struggling with making passes right now. As the race goes on, I think he's going to try to find his footing a little bit more, but as of right now, as it stands, we're 6 laps in, and he's still trying to make up positions as they run.
You know, Zach, I heard something down in turn 1 from Jourdain. It sounds like he was shifting. That, it sounds like is not the way to go in this car at this racetrack. I know a lot of cars can shift in a lap around Pocono. The, I guess, part to this that we have to kind of leave up in the air is sometimes if an iRacing vehicle enters really low RPMs, the sim will give the sound that they are shifting to spectators, even if they aren't actually shifting. But you know what? You saw it right there. That was absolutely an early downshift out of Jourdain. And they're crashing up ahead. Can he miss it? Wow. I think that's Caden Henry Oaks and Kyle Tubb. Christenberry as well. So problems on lap number 7 here at Pocono.
It's not what you want to see going down into turn number 1.
No, and Tubbs' car is junk. It might be mostly cosmetic, admittedly, but the nose of that race car, oh my gosh, it has seen better days. I mean, the whole left front is like 6 inches higher than the right front. That is not how that car should be looking right now. Let's go back and get a replay of what just happened here on lap number 7. This is a bit late, so we'll go back further, of course. That was a look at everything kind of happening. Here we go. So Tubb, I think, is behind the initial start of this. Absolutely is. Wow.
There's Christenberry just rolling to a stop, trying to make sure he doesn't get involved in this mess. Skavnicki all the way down there, rolling through the grass.
Let's check this out.
Look back at it.
Kevin Baumler entering turn 1 right behind Caden Henry Oaks, who ends up a big part of this. He ends up getting spun, it looks like, off the nose of the 81. Cody Anderson nowhere to go. He gets a big piece. Look at Tubb get into it.
Honestly, Andrew, he got a small piece of it, but Christenberry, I think that's a nomination for Murtis Esports Murtis Mega Miss.
Let's take another look at this a little bit closer. Ronnie Norman right behind these guys. Anderson as well. And Baumler just tags the left rear there of Caden Henry Oaks, who then locks it down, and that spits him up the racetrack right into the 33, the 32, and the 11. But I think you're right. I think Christenberry just about locks this thing down perfectly. First from the 81's on board. Then we'll hot switch to the 11 here. Here's the contact right there. Here's the 11. I mean, he barely hit Caden's left rear. That was pretty solid.
Yeah, not even enough damage to constitute a pit stop. I would just keep on rolling. But honestly, Andrew, as we keep looking at that as pit stops are underway, one car's around. Was that Josh Conover?
Yes, it is. And the front bumper is off of that number 48. We'll get a look back at that in a moment. Here's the race off pit lane. There goes Kleva. He'll be out first. It looks like a 2-tire stop for the number 9. There goes Tucker, followed by Jones and everybody else. I noticed Jordan White picked up a lot of spots. It looks like he took 4 tires and fuel. I'm surprised he got so many positions, but look at the pit timer there. He sped?
No. The spin on pit road. It checked up quite a few drivers.
That could be it.
There are a couple of drivers who look like they might have sped. I think Baumler sped on pit road. He's dropping back.
Here's Josh Conover into the pit lane, right behind Durham, just ahead there of Cody Smith, who tags him and puts him right around.
And I'm hearing from Conover that he's got a considerable amount of damage to fix on that race car now.
That's a shame. That was a pretty slow-moving incident. I mean, we're talking, you know, probably 40 miles an hour into the wall, if that.
Just a little left tap.
And I don't know that Cody really did anything wrong there. I think that's just unfortunate circumstance of they were so close together and pitted right next to each other like that. I mean, I'm trying to see if I can get a better angle. I really don't think Smith did anything wrong. They're all on the taxi lane here. I think it's just unfortunate placement of pit stalls and unfortunate alignment of where they each were coming into those stalls.
I think if Cody Smith had gotten in front of Conover before the caution came out, we'd be singing a different song at the moment.
Oh, absolutely. One driver stays out. That'll be Joey Stats, the number 28. He is filling in this evening for the actually injured Nick Geilis, from what I can tell. He was talking about things in the production channel in the NORA Discord server earlier. And I'm going to refresh my memory. But yeah, his knee. Hurt his knee, it sounds like, in the garden earlier today. So, hey, that's real life. That's a side of this that I think people often forget about. You do still have to be in decent physical health to do these races. I mean, you don't need to be an athlete by any means, but you have to make sure that your body isn't hurting you, first of all. And I mean, he's not the only driver in the last, month, even 6 months, that we've heard of not being able to race because of a physical, real-life injury. I mean, even Robert Moyer Jr. in BRB on Tuesdays hasn't raced in several weeks due to a proclaimed left shoulder injury. So, it's very much part of life, right? And obviously, we hope he gets better, not just to race in sim racing, but hopefully just to live life without pain. Obviously, that's an ideal there. So, regardless, 10 laps complete this time by out of 120. A bit of a slow start here this evening to Pocono, but we got a long ways to go and a short time to get there. Here we go to the restart zone, and the 21 dips out of line, but here comes the 9 of Dustin Kleba. And that is a Pocono restart.
Almost 3 wide, going down into the corner.
Watch this 28. We're about to see just how much old tires will hurt you, and new tires matter. Kleba and Tucker nearly make contact there. And here comes the number 3 on the inside. He's going to have the nose ahead. Maybe not.
Side by side through the double turn. Durheim's trying to make his way up to the 3rd spot. There's a fight right behind them. Brian Jones on the back bumper of the 28 car, but down into turn number 3. Tucker throwing it in on the bottom. Cannot make it stick. Kleba hangs up on the outside line. Ooh, a little wiggle right there. That's going to sacrifice some speed. Tucker's going to fall back in, catch the draft off the 9. And down to turn 1, does he make another move? Taking a look, stays in line.
Great racing here early at Pocono. There they go down the Long Pond straightaway. Whoa, Jones out of shape. That's a really cool angle just to see these guys get loose off the corner. And it's good to see that they are getting at least somewhat free, having to fight the car a little bit here this evening. Of course, this is the 2003 NASCAR Cup car. It's close enough to what was run in 2005. There were some spoiler differences and some template changes in those couple of years, but still very similar to what was truly on the racetrack in 05. As here we go. Stats way up top. That is the 8 of Moats down low, the 42 of Smith in the middle, each running Kyle Busch tribute paint schemes this evening. And Smith barely got clear.
That was very, very dicey. I was on the edge of my seat for a moment as Moats, way down to the bottom, shifts back up to the middle lane.
Boy, this 28 is going a whole lot of nowhere very quickly. It is a gaggle to try and pass him. You see the 96 of Perkins in there, the 21 of Kite. Senior has gotten by. He's following Moats into turn number 2. I think we could just keep watching this 28 right now and see most of the action. This is a mad dash to get by him. It's only one spot they gain by doing so, but what's helping some guys and hurting others, it's bundling everybody up out of the corners. It's forcing them to go 2 or 3 wide to try and pass. It is shuffling this entire field up.
Getting mostly single file now. Look at White. Makes a move down to the bottom.
Oh, Rochelle! There he goes. A spin off of Jordan White. It looked like Anderson gets by Housden. Watch out! Wow! That was some wreck avoidance. That was some NASCAR 05 stuff if I ever seen it.
Another nomination for Murtis Esports, Murtis Mega Miss.
Ryan Housden just unlocked himself a chase plate.
A chase plate?
Did you not play those games enough as a kid?
I did not play 05. I played 06, 07, 09, Dirt to Daytona, and 2004.
I forget exactly which years you got what, but at one point, I know in those EA games, what you would get for those challenges is what were called chase plates. That was just the reward. This is what it was called. It was like a license plate looking thing, and it was just your reward. But that was, I think, Jordan White on the inside of the 12 just getting tight. We'll take a look at it here. You see he's racing with, I see Gladulich in there, I see Norman, I see, of course, Rochelle, George, and the 28 of Stats. And then into the corner, Jordan just missed the bottom a little bit, barely got up into the 12 car, and unfortunately he couldn't hold it sideways, and everybody is able to miss, but just barely. You know, I've got my eyes on Housden right now. He has been looking really good lately. I recall he was really strong at Charlotte Motor Speedway a few weeks ago. I don't recall exactly who I picked for fantasy, but I could believe that I would have picked him. He has been really, really good lately, and this, it's a good piece of driving.
That was one heck of a mess. He did a fantastic job to hang on to that race car.
All while racing Calvin Baumler into turn 1. You see, they start to see what's going on. He's checking up, going high. Never mind. Low, 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 low. Wow.
What?
Well, I mentioned fantasy here in the NORA Retro Cup Series. What we have not yet looked at is those standings or power rankings. So, Zach, of course, a recap of what we're even talking about with this fantasy game. Whiplash Fantasy has partnered up with Pit Stop TV with NORA, ARN, and BRB to host a fantasy game for each of these series on the channel. And it's a lot of fun. It really, all you need to do is pick 3 drivers, a fastest lap winner, and a race winner. That is it. It is not complicated. I know fantasy sounds complicated, but it's really not. It's very simple. So easy that Zach Burtis can do it. When he remembers. I want to say that. When he remembers.
I've got a few things that are taking my attention away at the moment.
Well, looking back from my picks, I sure did take Housden. I also picked Skidder, who's not even here tonight.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I picked Tucker, Housden, and Skinner for my team this week, so it's not looking good. But we can look at the standings coming into this evening in that fantasy game. Here they are. John Scavnicki. Actually, this did not load the right graphic, it looks like. I swear when I picked it in ATVO, it said after 13 of 36. Did I put it in the wrong? No, not there. No, not there. I should label these better. Well, these were the standings, I believe, going into Dover, so bear with me to find the actual standings and compare. Oh. I apparently didn't relabel it. Okay. So, Zach, these standings are correct. It should say after 13 of 36. But the standings are correct.
Silly.
Yes. Well, you can at least see what's going on there now. So, Zach Murtis, where are you?
Load up the BRB standings.
No. That's a different league. Where are you in this? So, as mentioned, you have to pick 3 drivers. Okay, the way it works is we take the point standings, the driver standings, and break them down into 3 groups. So you're picking 1 from each of those groups, and it's literally the front, the middle, the back. Okay, so you have to pick somebody from each position, kind of each area in the field, in the standings at least. So you've got to, get yourself, I think, accustomed to the field a little bit. You definitely have a reason to watch, right? The problem for Zach Burtis is he just hasn't been playing. Okay, everybody else, we've been playing. You see John Scavnicki on top by 6 over Kevin Baumler. Josh Kahn over 3rd, Brady Motes 4th. They're keeping it close. I'm a little farther back in 5th myself. LJ Hernandez in 6th. Jordan White, hey, he's racing tonight. He just got by Greg Thillison in the standings before this race. And then Durheim and Rafferty. Rusty Rafferty, he's not even in this league, and he's over here showing you up, Zach.
Man.
Look, I love Rusty. He has been a great sport all year long. He is getting into these fantasy games. He's become a true community member for Pit Stop TV, and yeah, he is a valued member for sure. So we appreciate everybody who plays, and certainly hope that more choose to do so. Even if you can't make it into the top, couple of spots, whatever. Have some fun with us. Pick some teams, and we'll talk about it. Here we go. Into the restart zone. And we're going to take this lap in silence. It's lap 18, of course, Zach. We're going to sit back and remember exactly who Rowdy was. And Clevo will pull away with the race lead once again. There you see the entire field down the front stretch into turn number 1. Tom at the very back with Caden Henry Oaks, but single file up front. Brady Motes with the top 5 in that number 8 car. And everybody's starting to spread out for the first time. And oh, Durheim was free there off of turn 1, Zach. Here comes Moats.
They're going to move down to the inside. Into the tunnel turn, one of the hardest spots to pass on the racetrack. Moats sends it on in there, gets clear before
Here comes the
he hits
crossover.
apex.
Maybe not. Moats blocks.
Yeah, doesn't have the run. Durheim has to fall in line right in front of Hunter Sr. That's my pick to win the race in Senior. Going middle line, getting checked up behind Durheim.
Oh, Caden Perkins.
Woo. Big time wiggle.
Yeah, he's hanging it out there this evening. He's getting free. Gets in line there ahead of Ronnie Norman. They've got some, I guess, some rapport now. They've been racing together on Tuesday evenings over in BRB. So they're a little more used to seeing each other's names versus, you know, everybody else pretty much in this series, aside from like a Josh Conover or a Jake Christenberry or Brady Moats. For Perkins, for even Jordan White, you know, it's getting used to these guys right now. That takes a while sometimes. You aren't necessarily around the entire field every week, so you've got to learn guys as you go and kind of learn their tendencies and whether or not they're going to cut you a break. In that case, Ronnie Norman just cut Caden Perkins another break. Now Gladgelich to the inside of Norman, who grabs the curbing. Gladgelich nailed the curb on the inside there. He pops up the racetrack. And don't look now, but here comes the Jamaican sensation, Jordan White, up into 12th. Here he goes.
Side by side, down into the corner. Jordan throws it on into turn number 1.
Someone's got to tell this guy not to shift.
Stand by.
Well, he's back into the 12th spot. You see this battle behind. Christenberry, Anderson, Skavnicki, George, Rochelle. It is busy right here, and here's one of the throwback / tribute paint schemes for Cody Anderson this evening. He's got the Rowdy 51 font on there for the number 33. And that is a paint scheme based on the old Mikosuke Indian Gaming number 51 that Kyle Busch drove a handful of times. So that's a good look, I think, for the 33 car. That's pretty cool. Baumler and George are battling back here. This is for about 17th and 18th spot. Cody Smith right behind. He might take him 3. He will take him 3. Through the middle goes Cody Smith. George falls back, and Smith will have the outside of Baumler then for turn number 2. We are still super early in this race, and let's not forget there are no stages here in the NORA Retro Cup Series. It's just a straight-up race. 120 laps this evening, 300 miles. And these guys are doing their best to get it in as quick as they can. One thing we've not yet looked at is the MX Wraps weather conditions. There you go, 66 in the air only. It's a pretty cool day, honestly, in the sim, Zach. That's definitely manageable. 87-degree track temp, mostly cloudy skies. It is not very hot here at all.
Feels like a summer day when they used to come to Pocono in the middle of June, and then they come back towards the end of August when it's cooled down ever so little.
It's not even warm. What do you mean feels like a summer day? Are you English? Are you British telling me that 66 degrees is hot?
I'm not gonna lie to you, Andrew.
66 degrees feels like spring, May, or even when fall. I don't know.
I was looking at the track temp.
This guy. Well, yeah, it's cool. 66 in the air. Only 87 on track. It is a relatively cool evening here. Of course, the in-sim time, and it's set to May 31st, so yesterday, at 2:21 p.m. So that temp could go up. We could see the clouds burn off after a little while, and we can even see that humidity drop. That's pretty sky higher now, 64%. I mean, we often have higher here in North Carolina, but I still wouldn't want to be in 64% humidity right this very second. if I had the option. Nick in the chat saying it was 93 today in Florida. It was 90 something here in North Carolina. It's, yeah. At least I know the feels like temp got up there above 90 at one point. We got some rain, it cooled us down. I'm not sure about you guys towards Raleigh, Zach, but over here on the other side of the state, yeah, on the other side of the state, we got a little bit of rain this afternoon, cooled us down, kept things doable, I'd say, manageable. We're about 8 to 9 laps away from pit stops, depending on how much these guys are saving. Of course, we saw Jordan White downshifting in turn 1, so if anybody else is doing that, that of course would be an indicator they are not saving. But Pocono is often one of those kind of fuel mileage racetracks, so I would not be surprised at all to see some drivers start to save some fuel, especially as we start to get into a green flag look. We had those couple of cautions to start the evening off, but this has been a nice little run.
2 cautions, 6 laps only. We've only had 2 changes for the lead. That was when Kleba briefly gave it up and has since got it back.
It's not even so much that he gave it up. Joey Stats stayed out. Joey is now down in 23rd. He pitted under the second caution. So I guess the gamble kind of pays off. He got the points for leading and got back on a decent strategy with them as Jordan White and Jacob Gladulich have a moment there. Anderson now going to pull up. Christenberry ahead of these guys. And then Rochelle and Smith are battling. They figure that out by turn 2. And Zach, I don't know if you heard, but I heard somebody downshifting in the tunnel turn. And I think it's this guy, Tucker, down to 3rd in turn 3. Let's see for turn 1. Sure enough, down to 3rd gear. Hey, Paul Martin, it's good to see you this evening. It is never too early to be thinking about fuel. When we get those GT3 and Porsche Cup races for NARL on Thursdays, from the drop of the green flag, those guys are saving fuel, lifting early, coasting into the corner. It is never too early to try and work this race in reverse. And if you've ever watched the Indy 500, oh my gosh, Zach, that is a chess match on fuel all race long. Until those teams hit their final stop, and sometimes even after, it is always a chess match on fuel. And this is pretty similar to Indianapolis, I would say. I mean, this racetrack is, I mean, heck, it has one of the corners from Indy. So I would say we could very well see a fuel mileage race here this evening at Pocono Raceway. So many races here have fallen that way. I don't know what it is about this track. It's just how it goes.
Forget we're heading to Indianapolis here soon.
Yeah.
Brian Jones and Dalton Tucker slugging it out for that second spot. Jones has it, Tucker wants it, and they still have a huge margin over Brady Moses.
Uh-oh, one of the wall.
Back cards to the wall. Caden Perkins dropping backwards. Conover, Rochelle, and Smith moving on by.
Yeah, that was Perkins grabbing the concrete wall there off of turn 2. If you haven't noticed, this is the legacy scan of Pocono Raceway, the older version. It's lacking safer barriers in a lot of spots that you would now see it in the current scan of Pocono. It's also got much more bumpy pavement. This racetrack is from before a newer repave. This is about a 2009-2010 scan, something like that. So it is a much, much older version of this racetrack versus the, I think, 2016 or 2017 version we've got for the current scan.
Forget all the conspiracy theories.
Oh boy, tinfoil hats are coming out. Here goes Christenberry to the inside of Gladulich. These are a couple of Joe Gibbs teammates in the 11 and 20. Christenberry moves up. You know, on the Who You Got post over on Facebook today, Zach, we asked the question, who you got? Josh Conover or Jake Christenberry or the field? And I do think most chose the field. But I've got a feeling, just like Ryan Housden has been really good lately, Christenberry has looked good as well. And I've got a feeling about this 11 car. I think he's going to win soon. I don't know when, but I do think he's going to win soon.
Are you sure it's not like a hot flash or something?
What do you mean?
Well, this is more so playing into the fact that you and I disagree on a lot of things when it comes to strategy and drivers. Well, you never know. You never know what can happen.
One thing I do know is the pit window is going to open up
He's open.
around lap 33. We were told a little bit ago by some drivers, some admins, that we're expecting about 24 laps to a run. So if we want to Indianapolis this thing, let's think back from 120. 24 laps before that is 96. 24 before that is 72. Before that, you would be at 48. Before that, you would be at 24. I don't know why my brain lagged on that one. So, you know, if these guys are getting to about 32, 33 already, they are already kind of halfway into what a run would be, like, I guess, halfway into a run that would be needed to get to the end, playing even numbers. But if they can go, you know, 25, 26, that changes things up a little bit. That could get them closer to saving a pit stop. So there are a number of options already. Just with these guys being kind of in the middle of two different pit stops, I don't know that any of them saved 12 laps of gas, Zach, but man, I have to think there are options for these guys.
Well, there's plenty of options.
Rusty Rafford. I like that comment. I think that's what Zach is about to feel like here in a second. Zach, well, he's commenting YouTube, Rusty's, is he doesn't have enough fingers for this math, and I feel like you're about to feel the same way.
Oh, brother.
Oh, here we go! Moats and Durheim! You see it there from far across the racetrack, but what just happened in that corner was Moats washed up, and they nearly crashed. Thankfully, they keep it going straight, but I'm still hearing a lot of downshifting throughout the field. And here we go. Pit stop. Race leader is in. Norman has followed. So here's the number 7. How about the 20 of Gladulach, who usually stays out a little bit longer. He typically saves fuel.
He's usually one to run longer and see if he can cut a stop out. This is Kleba in the box. You saw Perkins coming in as well, right behind Gladulach. It's going to be 4 tires for Kleba. Let's see the timer in the box, leaving at 14.17. That's not bad. 14.45 for Norman.
And here come the leaders off of turn number 3, and Jones went the pit lane. And this is a very long pit lane, Zach. To be rolling down at, what, 50 miles an hour? 60, it looks like. That at least makes it slightly better, but this is still a very long pit lane. It doesn't look like it should be, but it is. And it looks like one car has been in here for just a little bit longer than you would want. Is this perhaps speeding on the pit lane for Caden Perkins, or is this something larger?
Speaking of black flags, but I cannot see black flag penalties for speeding. Could it be damage repair to that 96 car? He is still in the pit lane. He's
I think
one lap down at the moment.
I think it's looking a little more like real life stuff at this point. This is getting up to 80, 90 seconds. This looks like maybe something going on outside of the sim for the number 96. And here we go. Pit stops now for our race leader, Dalton Tucker. That's going to bring everybody in, it looks like. Moats, Malone, Senior, Kite, White, even Matthew George back there, all coming down the pit lane into their boxes. A few drivers do stay out, mostly guys who pitted under that last yellow. One of them, though, that did not stay out is this number 33 of Cody Anderson, who's still shifting, it sounds like, in turn 1. That's surprising to me. But Anderson has gone a little bit long here, and these guys that pitted under that last yellow, Zach, they can go about 6 laps longer at least. they could get into the territory of eliminating a pit stop if this thing were to go green all the way to the end.
I mean, for guys like Josh Conover, he's more so staying out to fix some damage as well. Remember, he had that bumper come off. We don't know if he's still got any damage left on that racing machine to get fixed. All in all, it looks okay.
Well, I can tell you, he did pit later. He pitted under that caution along with Cody Smith, Kyle Rochelle, even Nick Hammond and Joey Stats. So they can go a little bit longer on fuel. Anderson did pit that time, as did Housden. So they're into their boxes here in just a moment. And they're at 27 laps completed as they cross the stripe there in the pit lane. Josh Conover is at 20. So he could go to about 42, 43. And then he only needs to save a lap at a time to make up the difference to go to the end. And again, that is assuming this race goes green. But you never know, Zach. Just like you were saying a little bit ago, you never know. And it's certainly worth it to always position yourself as best as you possibly can in case this race does go for the green. You don't want to get caught with your pants down.
Pants down.
Never heard the saying?
No, I have. I thought it was funny. Talking about pull pants down.
Well,
that reminds me of the time when I went to Pocono. I believe it was 2017 or 2018.
I'm scared. I'm frightened.
No, you don't have to be frightened. But I was walking around in the infield, and a couple of family members decided that they were going to prank me and walked up behind me. And well, I was wearing some gym shorts that day because it was hot. They just pulled my pants down right there in the middle of the infield.
All right, on that note, a big thank you to our partners with the series that allow us to hear stories about Zach being pants to Pocono. Harpoon Design, Sparks Builders, Clark Contracting, and you know what? A new partner has been added. We've just been nursing some ATVO corrupted files lately, so I haven't got it loaded into the theme just yet. But how about the new presenting partner of our power rankings here in NORA, Dark Star Garage, Dalton Tucker. On top of these power rankings, and our current race leader, Josh Conover, is on a bit of a slide. He's down to third. Obviously, it's the result that pays out mostly. That's the goal, right? You want to finish the race as highly as possible. So it doesn't matter how you're running on lap 38. But if Conover can finish up front this evening, he could start to, right the slide here for the 48 car. Vincent Arthur has been trending up lately. He's not here this evening. Kleba trending down as of late, but he looks super fast here tonight, as do Durheim and Jones. That flag stand is in a really annoying spot.
Maybe your camera's in an annoying spot.
That's one way to look at it, but that's the wrong way. Into the pit lane, Kyle Rochelle, the number 12. T. Perkins is still in his box back there. Rochelle will come in for service, and this should be 4 tires and fuel, I would imagine. And back out for the number 12 car. The top driver that has pitted in this most recent cycle is actually 4th place. How about Dustin Kleba? He has brought Tucker and Jones into 5th and 6th as these guys work to recoup their positions lost in this pit cycle. Obviously, once the 3 ahead of them pit, they will get those spots back. But the delta to look at here, Zach, is only about 21 seconds between Conover and Kleba. So if Conover is able to save a pit stop, he still has to have a gap over the 9 car, and right now that gap is only about 18 seconds, and it is closing quickly as Conover is actually into the pit lane. This is at 24 laps complete on the run, so this is a little bit shorter than I was expecting from the 48. I thought he would go longer.
I'm trying to wonder what is mainly going through the head of Josh Conover at the moment. Think about how that strategy is going to play out.
I just think they aren't thinking about it necessarily. I think they just assume there will be a caution here between this lap and the end. And I mean, that's a fair assumption, I would say, honestly. In terms of assumptions, that's a pretty inconsequential one. unless we actually do go green, and then maybe this backfires for the 48 car.
Well, building a strategy around a caution flag is not necessarily a bad move. It's all about monitoring the trends of the race, which is what I try to tell a lot of the Murtis Esport development drivers, is watch the trends of the race, build and adapt your strategy as you go throughout the event. There's always the possibility that things could shake up as you go on. We could have a beautiful green flag run up to halfway, and then we have 5 caution flags after halfway. You never know.
There's Smith in his box. He will lose a handful of positions, and that returns the number 9 to the race lead. Dustin Kleba back out front here at Pocono. He is starting to catch a couple of slower cars in Joey Stats and Kyle Tubb. And then Caden Henry Oaks has just hit the pit lane as well. He pitted under the most recent yellow, and boy, he's got some damage, but he is about to go a lap down under this pit stop. That car is just kind of crawling around here at this point. And he actually just barely gets in the box. I thought he slid a little bit too deep there.
You saw that right front lockup too, I bet.
Yep. Here we go. Battle between Christenberry and White. These two will also be racing each other tomorrow night on a short track at Iowa Speedway for the BRB Sundance Pro Series. So this could be an interesting little battle to keep your eye on, as they'll now battle down the front stretch. Christenberry got loose, and Jordan White pulls back away for now. Meanwhile, ahead of them, Kite is trying to chase down Gladulich. This is for 10th.
On the back bumper. That is a really, really nice view of these guys racing bumper to bumper down into the tunnel turn. Gladulich still hanging on over that 21 car.
And here comes Jordan White on the inside. Speaking of changing in a hurry, right there. Oh no! Donald Kite! Watch the pit wall! And he hit it!
Oh no.
Donald Kite has become the pickle spear.
The what?
The pickle spear.
Never heard that saying before.
It's not a saying, I just camped with it. I just... Have you not ordered a club sandwich, deli sandwich before at a restaurant?
No.
Never seen a pickle on a toothpick?
Yeah.
Alright. They serve them alongside sandwiches. Anyways.
Drinks.
Zach, we're gonna get fired tonight. Anyways. Here's Donald Kite. The number 11, Jake Christenberry, ends up tagging his left rear off of turn 3. I mean, they were just squeezing off the corner. No, and Donald, I think, was trying to lift to give Jordan room, and then, boy, he got it really, really hard.
Now, lifting on corner exit is so tricky because it just stunts your momentum. It kills your run. And, well, we really see just what happened there. The chasing car catches so quickly that it's hard to react and find somewhere to go. I mean, look at that closing rate.
And if you watched the NASCAR Cup race last night at Nashville, that's a great example of it. We saw 2 different incidents on the front stretch involving the same few drivers, where 1 or 2 drivers had to lift. Cars behind them either couldn't see that lift, couldn't see the chain reaction, whatever, and there was contact made and cars spun. Austin Dillon did a great job of keeping that car under control and not hitting the outside wall in his spin. But he got into Brad Keselowski in very much the same way that Chris Buescher got into Dillon. And it was 2 almost carbon copy incidents. You heard, of course, the 6 crew all over the radio talking about how, oh, he wrecked us on purpose, whatever. I mean, I guess the jury could be out on that. But really, it's just when you are not expecting it in an area of the racetrack that somebody should be in the gas, you don't know to lift. I mean, these cars don't have brake lights. They don't have any indicator that somebody's lifting off the gas or anything. You just don't know. if you're packed up on somebody that they're lifting, and this happens, and bam, that is a huge hit for Donald Kite. And it's crazy, Zach, because we can acknowledge how hard he hit the wall, but I mean, the car barely deformed at all because he hit in the side.
Not to mention, race cars don't need headlights because the track is always lit.
You know what? In a week and a day, that movie is 20 years old.
I thought the movie was already 20 years old. They've made multiple posts about it.
In a week and a day. Here we go. That changes things up. Cleva, rather, does not get out first because a handful of drivers seem to have taken fuel only or 2 tires. Cody Smith, I think, took fuel only. Conover and Stats. Actually, Conover takes 2, but Stats takes fuel only as well.
I think when some of these guys are short into their run right now, no tires or 2 tires is honestly a move.
I agree. I mean, yeah.
Try something different.
Conover had just pitted. I agree with that call from each one of these guys. Try something a little bit different. You've just pitted. You just put tires on.
Did
Give
we
it a shot.
Agree on pit strategy?
Surely not.
Apparently so.
Caden Henry Oaks just getting into his box again. He is trying to get all the repairs that he can. I think he might have been our lucky dog under this yellow. And then Kyle Tubb also in the pit lane trying to receive more repairs. Let's see if we can dial up a driver here under this yellow. I'm actually, you know what? He's on his own this evening. Let's go ahead and dial up the driver of the 42, who is now leading this race by taking what seems to be a fuel-only call. Cody Smith, of course, a great NOS-inspired paint scheme there honoring the late Kyle Busch, but this pit strategy, it puts you out front for this restart. It looks like, of course, you just put these tires on pretty recently, so just trying to keep a set.
Yeah, we were on an alternate strategy. We were the only one to come down on a caution, so it kind of flipped us, and then I was the last one to pit there, and then only ran 2 laps on these, and the caution came out. So we're going to fill it up, or we filled it up. We're going to, I think, 5 laps short right now from eliminating a stop. So, but maybe fresh air keep us up here. I think we got top 10 speed, and we'll see what we can do with it.
And this is a pretty tricky racetrack, pun intended. It seems like there is a plethora of different ways to take these corners. There's guys shifting, there's guys turning in early, turning in late. Have you noticed a clear advantage between shifting and not shifting?
I think the guys that are shifting they're doing it very well. I personally haven't messed with it just in case we went on a long run. I wanted to conserve my tires a little bit, but that doesn't seem the way to go. So now it's gloves off. I'm gonna try shifting here and see what it does for me.
So if the rear axle suddenly locks up and you go spinning into the outside wall, who are we blaming it on?
Josh Conover. You blame him for everything.
Understood. Cody, best of luck here on the restart. Hopefully we're talking to you later.
Yes, sir. Hopefully so.
Not going to lie, Zach, I was kind of hoping he would say to blame you.
No, I like that Cody Smith guy.
I think the Josh Conover choice is a good secondary choice, but we'll get him back down to his team channel, and he will lead us to the green here in just a couple of moments. No lap cars in the field for this restart. Caden Perkins, the only driver that's any laps down. He is in 25th, 13 laps down, and some different lines from these drivers heading into the restart zone this time. Let's see what these guys can do. Green flag, back out at Pocono Raceway. A checkup in the middle of the top 10. Some damaged cars already. I don't know who didn't go. It might have been Stats.
Well, it looks like we're going to stay green as they fan out going into turn number 1. Most to the inside, sliding up in front of Rochelle. Everything's just falling into play as we roll down into the tunnel turn. See Bladulich down there trying to hang on. He's got Mickey behind him, but the fight for the lead heating up. Caught over to the inside.
Cody Smith pulls third gear there in the tunnel turn. Can't do anything with the 48 just yet, though. Into turn 3 this time. Much flatter, much wider. And the 48's going to take that spot away. Kleba into third, Stats fourth, Tucker fifth, Moats, Durheim, Rochelle, Norman, and Jones. The remainder of your top 10 as we race on the lap 48. Let's go back to this restart. And then we'll check on the possible motor expiration in a moment. Let's see what happened here. We're going to follow the 9 of Kleba. I think it's a 28. The 28 just doesn't go anywhere, and these guys are trying to get going, and wow. That went south quickly. And now problems for Joey Stats live. He has got issues. He is down to the inside of the racetrack. He has got a ton of damage. And
that motor expiring.
I don't think he was alone. I saw Baumler and I saw Moat slow at one point in time. I thought. So suddenly we have a lot going. I would bet, Zach, that the motor you heard expiring was the 96 of Perkins.
I was just about to say, I think it was, because he's now got a pit for a repair flag.
So here is the 28 of Stats, just gets tagged there by Moats, down to the inside. No caution for this. That is a huge hit to the inside wall.
Off the racing surface, so no dice on getting a caution flag for that 28 car. That's going to be his day done. Look at that left front. Can't imagine that steering wheel straight.
He's going to keep it going, but then look at this for the race lead. Kleba has just powered by Cody Smith. Josh Conover falls down to fourth. Tucker into third. Oh my goodness, they lulled us to sleep in the last run, Zach, just to wake us right back up here.
It just seems like there is no stopping Dustin Kleba. Putting himself right back in the front of the field where he's been just about all race long.
There we go, some drivers fanning out in the background. Calvin Baumler, one of them. Ryan Housden, another. Trying to find their spot into turn one this time. And they will do just that. Baumler racing with Housden side by side through the first turn. Meanwhile, the 9 car is pulling away, and Smith has got a rear bumper full of the number 3. And, you know, these two have a little bit of history. They don't necessarily prefer racing each other as Smith grabs the outside wall. That should settle this battle pretty quick. Sure enough, it does.
Around the outside of 3, trying to find some ways forward. Always just so tough to pass here at Pocono with how complex this track can be. But that guy, Josh Conover, trying to hang tough on the inside.
And he will make the pass on Cody Smith. Cody might be coming back here. You heard Cody in that interview talking about shifting, that he's going to try it. He's been doing it. I think he's starting to like it because he has not stopped. He is continuing to downshift in at least turn 1, if not a couple of others as well. And he's making it work. He's still in the top 5. Sure, he's lost some spot. He's also on slightly older tires as Chase Durheim now works to catch up to him. Battle here between Jordan White and Brady Moats. Brady is very much to thank for getting Jordan in the race this evening. And I think the thank you is going to be letting Brady go by here on this run, inadvertently also letting the 18 of Jacob Malone go by. And we have not really talked about Jacob in the last, 50 laps. We talked about it at the start, and since then he's been very quiet, but here he is in the top 10, starting to work his way forward.
The inside of Jordan White, who has also worked himself into the top 10. We see fighting it out for that final top 10 spot. Malone currently in that 9th position. Jordan's going to get the nose in front. All right behind number 8 in position number 8. Hunter Sr. waiting in the wind, seeing if he can find a way around these two. Tight racing up off of the tunnel turn, and Jordan is going to get clear. Keep that 29 in that 9th position.
So a lot of racing left to go here at Pocono, but we are starting to get towards about halfway. By the way, Joey Stats has taken that car to the pit lane, and he has just dropped 1 lap down. So he has finally come in for service, has realized that 28 is simply not going to keep going the way it was. Battle here between Skavnicki and Housden. Housden takes the spot. Baumler and Jones, watch out, Calvin Baumler. Nick Ham just gets by. George has to pedal it. And they're racing again here for 14th again. Housden and Skavnicki at a turn 2 this time. Some fantastic racing all around the racetrack right now. Everybody trying to get what they can here close to the restart. And there goes Christenberry to the inside of Ham. Jones has got some right rear damage and some nose damage from that restart, Zach. And, you know, somebody that we expect to be at the front of these races now back in 18th position. I don't know that he was on too many fantasy teams tonight, but if he was, they might be hurting after this.
Well, we've seen Brian Jones rebound from worse. I think this is still immensely recoverable for that 45 car. One of the best drivers in the field, honestly. I think he's got this, Andrew. You don't count him out just yet. We've still got more than half this race left.
Battle here for 4th. This is Chase Durheim, Cody Smith. And Smith grabs the wall again. That should make this pretty easy. Durheim gonna float on by. And he is just within 1 second of Conover ahead. Meanwhile, look at Malone on the inside there of White and Rochelle. I wonder if Rochelle has that incident with White from earlier in the race on his mind right now.
Never seen Kyle Rochelle be one to hold grudges too long.
No, I don't think he will, but he might not cut Jordan a break is really all I'm saying. And, you know, I think a lot of guys, or just a lot of people who watch these races, they hear us say that, like, oh, he's going to remember that, and they think, well, it's going to be a crash or something. No. Frankly, these guys very rarely actually intentionally crash one another, whether it's NORA or any other league. It's a rarity. It just does not happen very often, but what we're usually talking about with a race car driver remembering something that somebody did to them, that usually just means they're going to run them a little bit harder, pinch them down the racetrack or up towards the wall, maybe give them a bumper, a door, just race them a little bit harder. If somebody did you wrong earlier, you don't want to stoop down to some kind of naughty level and intentionally crash them. You just want to make their life a little bit harder as they race to get by you again.
Oh, what they did.
Meanwhile, Malone didn't have to think too hard about passing Jordan White. He just finally got by. Jordan, though, looks back to the inside and will think better of it. I think that was smart for turn 3. It's still pretty early. I mean, we're not even halfway. We're nearly halfway, but not even halfway yet. And these guys are just kind of getting into a mid-race form once again. I do wonder. How are these guys looking on fuel? The race went green right, what was it, lap 46, 47? So just before lap 48, and I was talking earlier about working this race in reverse, Zach, if you recall, lap 48 would have been one of the hypothetical pit stops to make. So they are just about on schedule to run equal distance runs to the end. I would reckon we can expect these guys on the pit lane somewhere around lap 70 to 73, depending on if they did or did not save fuel.
What is this fuel saving you speak of?
About half the battle here at Pocono, to be honest.
Well, there's still a lot to go. Or a lot of racing left to go, that is. Remind me when that caution flag was again, that most recent caution. That was lap...
I think we've restarted on to lap 47.
Okay, so restarting on lap 47.
Oh, wow. Caden Perkins was told he had too much damage and they couldn't fix it in the pit lane. So he said he barely had any wheel damage, and he was told by iRacing that that was it. No more. Park it for the day. So that is huge for his first start here in the NORA Retro Cup Series. Obviously did not want the day to go that way. But he's a good, disciplined, younger racer. He's, I guess, somewhat new still to sim racing. He's finding his way here on iRacing. He's got a long ways to go, certainly, but he has been climbing up the iRating ranks as of late, and really starting to get impressive on the BRB side too. So give him some time to figure these cars out, figure the field out, and I think he'll be contending for top 10s before we know it. Meanwhile, Hunter Sr., I know he really wants to put some of the haters to sleep, to bed, however you want to put it. He wants to shut them up. He wants to win a race, another race or two, here on these kinds of, I guess if you want to say it, Zach, talent tracks. He wants...
He certainly put my money where my mouth was. Hold on, I didn't talk right there. Put my money where my mouth was. Thank you.
Yeah, but even that was Talladega, and he has been very vocal that he does not like some people's thoughts that he only lucks into wins. So he's trying to get one of these wins on one of these other racetracks and show these guys that he truly can. I think we know here in the tower, the virtual tower, that he certainly can get it done on other racetracks. Maybe not Pocono. Maybe Pocono. We'll see, as we've just gone past halfway. But caution. Donald Kite, Nick Ham into the pit lane here. Not Kite again.
There's no way.
They spun into the pits. Was this an attempt to pit? I doubt it. It's too early for that, I would think. Ham loose off of 3, and you're kidding me. Twice
no way.
The 21 has spun down to pit lane. At least this time, he didn't hit a wall.
I was going to say, missed the pit wall that time.
But you know what, Zach? If I had a nickel,
if I had a nickel for every time Donald Kite spun into the pit lane, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
That's right. Unfortunate scenes there for the driver of the 21, but he'll get back up with the field, and we'll get a chance to really look at this pit cycle in great detail. This comes again right in the middle of a stint, right in the middle of a fuel run. So once again, these guys get their progress halted in an awkward spot in terms of laps completed, and look at this. Is Smith maybe showing Durheim some displeasure there off of turn 1? He's back behind him now, but for a moment there, he was up alongside the right side of the 16 car. Unsure if that was maybe voicing displeasure or even just looking over and checking the damage on the right side of the 16 if there is any. Honestly, with these guys, you just never know.
It's to guess rather than assume.
Honestly, Zach, I think if you are not top 5, take a chance, roll the dice a little bit here. I would say 2 and pack it full of fuel. Get back out ahead of some of these guys. Try to get some track position. We're right in the middle of the run. The left sides, I think, can handle it. Pack it back full of fuel.
4 tires and gas is what I'm thinking. Here we go. Leaders of the rest of the field into the pit lane. I think the guys that took 2 tires got the track position. Now they need to hang on to it, and 4 tires is going to be the way to go. Let's see what Kleba does. We see Jordan White first to his box. Malone in.
And everybody else
making that hard right turn.
There's the 9 into his box. I would expect mostly 4 tires for the entire field here, but you just never know. As here they go out of the pit lane in just a moment. I'm not seeing any 2 tires through anybody.
Yeah, 4 tires is the way to go. Now, no. Lots of through-line racing off of the pit lane, Andrew. But the spot up at the front of the field is still going to go the way of Kleba. Conover picks up into the 2nd spot. He's up passing Tucker, who loses a couple of spots on the pit lane, actually. He lost to Durheim as well.
Well, he's led a whole bunch of this race. What do you say we dial up the driver of the number 9 here quickly? We have seen him on kind of a part-time basis. Not even kind of a part-time basis, truly a part-time basis as of late, which has really impacted his position in the point standings. But despite missing some races and it looking like Dustin is way out of the chase right now, Dustin, your speed is always on par with these guys at the front of the field here on Monday night. So I think the question is, we have hit and passed halfway, not only in this race, but also in the regular season. How many more races can you run this summer? Are you in contention truly for the chase? And now we await the answer. Dustin, if you are talking, we are not hearing you.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
If I, dude, that's the dumbest freaking thing I've ever done. I was hitting the wrong button.
I was wondering what was happening there.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I just told the entire field that I'll be missing Sonoma. But yeah, yeah, a lot of it is up to my work schedule. Yeah, I'll miss the road course here in a couple of weeks, and yeah, from there, I don't know for sure. There might be another one snuck in there. I do know the last 10 weeks I should be okay. So once we get to that point, I should be able to make it. But yeah, getting into the top 10 before that is going to be tricky.
It definitely is starting to look like more and more of a challenge as these races go on. But runs like this tonight are about the best way that you can try and keep yourself afloat still, right? I mean, you're going to get a chunk of points if this kind of thing keeps up. So how do you keep yourself up here? How do you mitigate what guys might do on awkward pit cycles? We've already seen some drivers staying out, taking 2, taking none. How do you try to stay up here with all of those curveballs?
Yeah, for sure. Just trying to balance when are you aggressive on strategy, but when are you also a little bit conservative, but know you can kind of get back up there with speed. And, you know, second and thirds are okay, especially after a night like tonight when, you know, we've led a lap and should get close to most laps. So don't necessarily need a win. I would love to have a win, but yeah, just got to be smart.
Good to talk to you, Dustin. Best of luck here tonight.
All right, thanks, guys.
He's led a whole bunch of laps so far, 48 in fact. He's restarting in front of the 48 on this restart. Let's see what Dustin Kleba can do. Coming around to the green flag one more time. 64 complete. That means 56 to go. Green flag is back out here at Pocono Raceway. A long ways yet to go. It's the mad dash down to turn 1. Tucker to the inside of teammate Brady Motes. 3, 4 wide through turn 1. Zach, look at Durheim. He's moving around. Smith to the inside of Senior. Here comes Mote to the inside of Durheim.
Look at Conover taking a look on Kleba. Falls back in line and thinks better of it. Mote sends it on into turn 2. Gets clear of Durheim. A crossover move incoming.
Oh, there goes the 42! Just hangs on to the race car. And I do mean just. Never mind. There he goes. Just kissed it.
We jinxed him.
Just kissed the inside wall. Cody Smith spins out of contention there on lap 65. But there's the whole field working back down the front straightaway. Turn 1 again. Durheim and Modes side by side with Jacob Malone right behind. I told you that 18 had to be watched here tonight. Into the top 5 now.
Trying to fend off a hard-charging Tucker, who lost the spot to the 18, actually, on that last go-around. He got a little, I want to say, throttle happy. Got off the wall a little bit. Not as much as Cody Smith, but definitely quite a bit. As Malone rides behind these two fighting in front, that's going to let him close in with the crossover moves they're pulling. Moves back to the inside of Durheim. Malone staying in line. Durheim was going to try to get back down to the bottom. He had to back out just a tad, so he didn't run into the back bumper of Brady Modes. So the crossover move was not able to be done in turn 3. Norman gets a little loose off of 3. I'm not going to lie to you, Andrew. I almost said 4. Almost said 4. You got it in my head now.
Well, I don't call that corner 4. I call it 4 and 5. Look, if we get another caution, I'll explain the theorem once again. But here we are on lap 67, and these guys are getting very battle happy throughout the field. Mostly single file this lap, but give them a couple of corners. Here comes Jones to the inside of Christenberry. This is for 13th spot into turn number 2. Jones goes right on through. Christenberry lets him. Now Anderson looks up the inside of the number 11 car.
Got a little close right there on the bumpers between the two of them. Anderson rolling down onto the bottom line. Throws that nose into the corner. Slides up just a tad. Up a whole lane, actually. Christenberry with the run. Back down to the inside. It was Baumler, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it was. He ends up falling back in line. Look at Malone. Inside on Durheim, trying to make a move up to 4th.
He's just about got it, but not quite clear. There you see at the right side window of Malone's car. Durheim getting the run to turn 1, or turn 2 rather. And now he'll lift early. That gives Malone the spot into turn 2. That was wise. That was heads-up racing here. It's still, I wouldn't say it's early, Zach, but we're certainly not in the end yet. There's still a good ways of racing to go. And now Durheim has a 3 to the inside. Obviously, that's not ideal, but again, smart racing will prevail.
These guys burn their tires up. Let them throw it into the corner and burn up that right front tire, and then you catch them about 5 to 10 laps later.
The downshift there in turn 1. These guys getting aggressive. I would not be wanting to rev the cars nearly that high, Zach, but you know what? I was doing some very brief Sonoma testing earlier today. Just getting pictures for thumbnails and stuff, but I was taking some laps, getting a feel for what this car will feel like at Sonoma in a few weeks. It'll be the first road course of 3 this season, as we'll be heading to Sonoma, then Montreal, and Watkins Glen. Well, I'm going to be honest, Zach. You've got to get used to hanging in some higher revs in this car, I think, in general. Right? In the corners, you still drop pretty low, but on the straightaways, this thing screams to life. And so even just managing between corners on a road course, like at Sonoma, for example, it is some high revs. The downshifts, they're scary for a good while because it ends up pegging the motor nearly. You're revving really, really highly on those downshifts. You think you're going to cook it, but I'm sure in real life, your crew would advise you against it. On iRacing, you can abuse the engine just a little bit harder. And I think that's going to be something these guys have to get very much used to. If they haven't done road racing yet in this car, that might be a bit of a shock to them. It certainly was to me earlier today.
Listened or watched some of the road course onboards. Oh, Brady Modes taps the wall. Like maybe we got one car spinning around. Caution! Caution is out. Back straight away.
Nick Ham again. This time Baumler involved.
Baumler. Not a lot of damage, it looks like, on that 81 car.
And Matthew George.
Front bumper is off on that 25 car.
So 3 cars.
An Elliott Sadler situation?
In what way?
In the fact of cars are wrecking and he comes in late and ends up getting caught up in it. However, we actually will have cameras of that one.
Well, no, it looks like George is right behind it. There you see Ham just gets the 81, spins him around, and then George with nowhere to go ends up locking it down, spins down into the grass. Thankfully, these guys kept it relatively tame, honestly, for what that could have been, but boy, oh boy, did Ham send the number 81 for one heck of a rotisserie spin off of turn 2.
Rotisserie chicken?
Well, you see the sponsor on the 81, right?
Oh, what can Brown do for you? Well,
That's the
yeah,
88.
That's what he can do. Yeah, I know.
I'm
he's
talking about the
phenomenal.
81.
I know, but that's what Brown did for... I'm trying.
I'm trying to get you to acknowledge the joke about rotisserie chicken, even though it's a KFC number 81 there. Regardless, here's a look from high above, right behind Donald Kite. And this happens because Bomber had to check up for losing front downforce there behind Donald Kite. So that really is what causes this. But I mean, it's another case of somebody checking up and just not enough time for the car trailing. I'm sure Ham jumped out of the gas, but still ends up in the back end of Omler and spins him around off of the second corner. And here we go. A split choice at the pit lane. Kleba, Senior, Anderson, and who is that up top? That is Stats will stay out. Everybody else
Stats
comes
slaps
in.
Down.
Everybody else coming in.
Hot and heavy into the box for a lot of these guys. Up on the jack stands. 4 tires, more than likely to play here. 2
There goes the
tires
3
for
and the
Tucker.
7. 2 tires for each of them, it looks like. The 48 down and away quickly as well. He also, or the 45 rather, he also took 2 tires. And that puts the 48 very deep in this field now compared to where he just was. He was the first car into the pit lane. He looks to be about the 7th off.
You know, Andrew, I agree with the 4 tires. I think it's a good pick. These guys have a considerable amount of sets to use. They have a limited amount of sets, but they have a considerable amount of sets. I think, what, 10 change sets they get? 10 sets laying
Yes,
in
sir.
the box? So, you've got the sets. You might as well use them.
Also, Zach, this caution comes out right at lap 72. Again, I've been talking about 24, 48, 72, 96. That gets you to 120. These drivers that stayed out clearly have not done enough IndyCar racing to work these races in reverse because...
I'm sorry, did you just suggest a short pit?
What?
72, 96, 120.
Correct. Those are 24 lap intervals. I went over this, I don't know, 40, 50 laps ago.
Right, but they can stretch 33 laps.
That is not what they have done at all, sir.
My fuel data read 33 laps. So
Because they're running 77% load, not 100.
right.
Right. League admins told us 24 earlier, and they did exactly 24. Back.
I think my brain is breaking.
Back. Look at Discord.
No, I'm looking. I think I just my brain's breaking.
Zach. It's 24 laps to a run. That's what Jacob Gladulich told us at, let's see, 8:30 p.m. right before green flag. So again, from here, if you pit under this caution, 24 gets you to 96, 24 more gets you to the end. My point in this is Kleba, Senior, and Anderson now need a caution. Everybody else just bought themselves a one-stop race to the end.
Well,
That's all there is to it. I promise, it's not too crazy, not too complicated.
look, man, I've had race car stuff on my mind all day, and now we're dealing with more race cars and fuel strategy and all that jazz.
The race car stuff you have on your mind, though, is whop break, whop break. Meanwhile, your crew is trying to tell you all these numbers. I'm kidding. Here we go. Dustin
I love how
Cleva.
your microphone clipped.
Probably didn't come across, just like yours. Well, green flag on the way. Here we go. 47 to go. And Jordan White out of the race. Problems again with his computer. He might be able to get back in, but with 47 to go, that is a huge blow to his very first start here in the series. Meanwhile, Durheim and Conover contact off of turn number 2. They are now 10th and 11th after this restart. Rochelle right behind them, Housden as well. As Dustin Kleba leads off of turn number 3. 46 to go here at Pocono. Ham to the pit lane.
Standing out amongst the masses down the front straightaway. Still mostly single file as they roll through 1 and 2.
First side by side is Kite and Moats, it looks like, down the backstretch. Going out of turn 2, here they go. Kite on the outside, Moat still down there. He will slide in behind the number 21. Very wise. And I gotta say, Donald Kite might be making a case for driver of the day at this rate. He has spun into the pit lane twice. He was at one point skewered at the end of the pit attenuator, Zach. And here he is, racing himself into 8th on merit. Now, he did take 2 tires at that caution, so that got him a few spots, I'd say. But he was still looking good even before that.
Credit where credit's due.
Oh, here comes Moats to spoil the party. Big dive there from the 8 car. He makes it stick.
He doesn't.
It's stuck. He didn't hit him.
Yeah, he actually got a good run, and Conover's going to follow him through. Moats
Jones
decides to stay on the bottom, block the 48 going into the corner, moves right back up to the top side. That's a compromised entry going into the tunnel turn, but somehow it takes the air off the nose of the 48, and Knight sneaks back to the inside.
They'll keep racing. Meanwhile, Jones and Tucker side by side at turn 3 here. Tucker on the outside, Jones down low. This is for 4th and 5th. Anderson is still out ahead. Those 3 drivers that stayed out, they still hold that track position.
Wondering how that's going to affect their fuel strategy, though. Because we had... what was that green flag run that we just had?
Well, again, they have to pit twice. The 3 that stayed out, they have to pit twice. The guys that just pitted, they have to pit one more time to the end. That's the difference.
What's the thing that I was trying to get at? They're going to have to pit twice. So, realistically, if we were to run this race to the end and stay green, those 3 guys that stayed out are not going to be winning this race. Realistically, the leader will be Tucker in the 3 car.
Well, that's what I was saying with the pit stop laps they had to hit, right? So 72 was one of them. They pitted. The caution came out at lap 72, or whatever it was. I think restarted at 73, maybe. Regardless, it was close enough. There could be a 1 or 2 lap margin, and so the guys that just pitted are good. They just now need to hit lap 96-ish, and then they can go to the end at 120. Now, certainly, Zach, insurance is good, so I think maybe these guys might want to save a little bit just to give themselves an extra lap or 2 in case we have one of these famous Pocono green-white checkered situations. That's happened many times before, just honestly in general, and it could easily happen here this evening with the way these guys are racing, so keep that in mind. But right now, the drivers that just pitted under that caution, basically everybody other than Kleba, Senior, and Anderson, they only need to pit once more around lap 96. Otherwise, Kleba, Senior, and Anderson need to pit twice. How do they work that out? I'm not entirely sure. I would not want to be in that camp of any of those 3 cars that stayed out under that caution. Here comes Conover to the inside of Malone. This is for 8th spot. And Josh takes that spot right away. And here we go, the three. Starting to make moves.
Everything's starting to fall into play here as we roll towards the last 40 laps of the race. Here comes Jones with a look to the inside on Anderson. That was tight right there going into 3.
Laps to go. You know, earlier today I asked Nick Geilis, Josh Conover, those guys, if they could make me an admin of the iRacing session just so I could see incidents as these drivers accrue them. And I think the most interesting part will be when these guys, you know, there will be a few of them that finish this race with 0 incidents, and I think that will be interesting to me. One of those drivers is Dustin Kleba, another is Hunter Sr. at this point in time. Nobody, though, and this is impressive, to be 80 laps into a Pocono race, nobody is in double digits. They're keeping it off of each other, they're keeping it off of the walls, they're keeping it out of the grass, they're keeping it straight. In a world where a lot of iRacing leagues, and I do mean a lot, as Senior grabs the wall there off of turn number 3, still a 0x for him. Regardless, in a world where many iRacing leagues across the service end up with races with guys in like 24, 30, 50 incidents, it is really refreshing to see an entire column of single-digit incident points. The leader, by the way, in that stat right now, sorry to cut you back off there, Zach, the leader in that stat right now is Nick Ham at 9. Second is a tie between Donald Kite at 8 and Kevin Baumler at 8. By the way, Joey Stats racing this evening for Nick Geilis. Of course, we mentioned he's had a handful of issues this evening, but also Jordan White dropped out of the session just about, 8 laps ago. But Jordan White has now fallen to 24th spot, and Joey Stats has picked Nick up a spot, bringing the number 28 into 23rd position. So Stats may still be 8 laps down, but you know what, Zach? There's always something to be said for attrition, and I respect the guy a whole lot for staying in a race like this and never quitting. You signed up, you may as well see it through until iRacing tells you otherwise. So props to Joey Stats, sticking in this race so far, trying to get those points. I think team points mostly for Nick Geilis and the Penske group.
Meyer staying in the right here, trying to keep the pace. So credit where credit's due to the 28 of Stats. Down to the inside. Tubb on Baumler, Skabnicki on Gladulich. Fight around the 15th spot. Tubb being the 15th place car. There's Housden right up the road. We're starting to get spread out, Andrew. We're starting to roll ourselves into that window as Gladulich touches the rumble strip down there in the apex, but we're starting to roll into that window of those top 3 drivers needing to head to the pit lane.
They've got till maybe lap 90, and that's being generous.
Well, that's a big old maybe.
It is. I think with one caution in this stretch, I mean, Kleba, for example, Kleba Sr. and Anderson are on the same strategy. They've been on the racetrack for the same amount of laps. They all pitted most recently for 4 tires and fuel. They have gone now, this is their 21st lap. Actually, it's their 22nd. The way that works is actually they've completed 21 laps. This is lap 22 for them. So, if we're going off of 24 from earlier, I would give these guys really probably to lap 87 or 88 at the latest. Right? Because you can put the clutch in, you can keep the car in 4th gear through the entire caution cycle. You can save some fuel, save a lap or two. So that would get you from 24, which would be up around, it looks like lap 87 for these guys. Maybe they can go to 90, maybe. But probably 88 or 89 is where these guys will have to pit.
I don't like it one bit, especially since Kleba has been the dominant car all race long. I mean, think about how many laps he's led. I know we've got a statistic for that, or a way to change to look at how many laps that he's led so far this race, but it's... there it is. Nice. But he's done an outstanding job to keep himself in a fantastic spot all race long. And I just heard Hunter Sr. call out that he'll be heading to the pit lane.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, they had till maybe 87, 88. It'll be 85 for the number 4. He comes in a little bit early. I think he's trying to get these tires on a little bit earlier and try to make some ground back up. And really, I think the hope for them now, Zach, is to get a caution. So, well, to be specific, I think they want this race to go to about lap 100-ish and to get a caution at that point in time. That gives them a chance to put these tires on, run some fast laps here, and try to get some track position made back up on the other drivers that will then have to pit somewhere around 96, 97, maybe 98. I think that's really their only hope. And I will say, they are not out of this race until they have to make that second stop, if this thing does go green. Until then, a caution could come out at any point in time and keep them in the picture. But once they make that second stop, that is when they put themselves completely behind the 8 ball. Also worth noting, they likely will stay on the lead lap as Jones is in. This makes no sense. Why would you pit here?
Andrew?
Unless he's short, unless he's run too much already, burned off too much fuel, there is no sense in pitting right here.
Andrew, buddy. Strategy. I don't know what else to say, so I'm just kind of taunting you a little bit.
This makes no sense to me, and he's not the only one. Norman and Christenberry do the same. Unless you're already certain that you will not make it to lap 96, this makes no sense at all. And even then, save it, try to get close, try to catch a caution. I do not understand the call to pit there at all. Unless you're one of the 3 that stayed out, Kleba, Anderson, or Senior.
That puts their strategy a little bit more on the up and come. Because if all of these guys are pitting and making 2 stops, then that keeps Kleba in a competitive spot. Keeps him in the hunt for this race win. It all depends, though, like we talked about, on how these guys fall in. Got more drivers calling out that they'll be heading into the pit lane.
And here comes Kleba. I am still just so befuddled is the word. There's Anderson. These 2 make sense to pit. And so the rest of the field will keep going. And yeah, look, I said 88, 89. Here they are right at that point in time. This makes sense. I really don't know what the 45 and such are doing, but okay. As we see a battle there, Moats goes by Conover. Some drivers saying they can only get to about lap 95. And so again, you know, if you know you're short, I guess that makes a little more sense, but why not take the bet on yourself and try to save the fuel? Still pit around 95. Hang on, still pit around 95, because if you get a caution after that, you are still on the same sequence as the other leaders that would have gone the whole distance. And you're not losing anything there. I don't know that there's a whole lot to gain, truly, by pitting when they did. I'm willing to be disproven on that if we get the caution at the right time. Otherwise, just buckle down, put the clutch in, save. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
The motor off too. So many options available to these drivers, as we are within 30 laps to go when we click by the flag stand.
By the way, really quick, I do want to say hello to Adam Buzzio out there watching tonight. He just let me know that he also doesn't understand why those guys just pitted. So, hey, I've got one in my camp in my corner. So, Adam at least agrees. He doesn't really understand the choice to pit, but... Oh, Howelton grabs the wall. I mean, I get it a little more. I understand at least, like, okay, they will have to pit, I guess, an extra time if they were already for sure that they're short. But hey, leave the car in fourth gear, put the clutch in, lift a little early. You can make that back up. I mean, that is the essence of Pocono. Maybe not right here in what these guys are emulating in 2005, but shortly thereafter, Zach. I mean, so many fuel mileage races here at this racetrack, and there was at least like a 10-year stretch where it was just nothing but fuel mileage, constantly having to save gas. And Brad Keselowski, this was even talked about in last night's NASCAR Cup race at Nashville. Brad Keselowski kind of pioneered putting the clutch in around the corner, saving as much as he could. He wasn't the first to do it, but he was the first to do it really, really well and turn some heads by winning some races that way. And look, man, I love that strategy. I know some don't. I fell in love with that. I would do that all the time in NASCAR 14, NASCAR 15. There was actually an inside joke in the league that I ran over there for many years. I know a lot of these guys actually came from that area of the sim racing space, you as well, Zach, but if Zach Lindgren was watching, he could tell you that we had a joke #strategy for a long time. And honestly, if you really wanted to go on a deep dive here on Pit Stop TV, you can find some of those races from 10 years ago or more on the Pit Stop TV YouTube channel from when we were still racing on NASCAR 14 and 15. I don't recommend it. I was literally 14, 15 years old. But putting the clutch in, saving as much as you can around each and every corner, that was the way I won a lot of races. You gotta bet on yourself, man. You gotta just stick to the strategy, see it through. Especially as you slow down, Zach. I mean, you know this, whether it's sim racing or real racing, as the tires wear out, you slowly have to lift earlier and earlier and earlier, and you have to wait longer and longer and longer to get back in the gas. So you are inherently, over time, over the course of the run, going to use less fuel per lap. Just because the tires can't handle the same throttle in and out points. So I'm puzzled. That's why I keep talking about it. I'm trying to stall so my brain can process it. I don't get it.
Welcome to my world.
Fair enough. Well, I mentioned the BRB Sundance Pro Series. They're in action tomorrow night at Iowa Speedway. I don't expect this same kind of fuel situation just because the tracks are just so vastly different. We're talking about a 2.5 mile big time speedway here at Pocono to the 7/8 mile Iowa Speedway tomorrow night with ARCA cars, rather, ARCA Menard Series cars. I suppose you could call them NASCAR stock cars still. A lot of those cars still use old NASCAR Cup and O'Reilly Series chassis, but
I'm sure you and Super will be having a blast with that ARCA racing machine at Iowa Speedway as Conover makes a move into the second spot on Brady Moats.
in case you're wondering, we have not forgotten about Driver of the Day. We just still have long enough to go here that we want to see this pit cycle through. So, remember, drivers were saying they can only go to 95. That's why they pitted early. Here we go. Right here, lap 95 for Dalton Tucker. How far can these drivers go? This is now 23 complete for them. This is their 24th lap. And there's the clutch in for Tucker. If you didn't hear it, it's because, well, the engine was off. Or at least clutch was in. It was driving at about 300 RPMs into the corner. He's still shifting, Zach. Let's see what he's doing down here in 2, though.
The clutch in there.
Turn 1's a heavier braking zone, a lot more time off throttle. 2, I think, makes sense to not. Let's see what it does in 3, though. Yeah, clutch in. That makes a lot of sense.
Third gear. See, I don't like that right there. I would have left the car in 4th gear.
Same.
I feel like the revs are way too high.
I agree. Here come Moats and Rochelle. They're gonna hit the pit lane. But you know what? This is about on target. They might have to save themselves about a half a lap of gas. But this is pretty on target, right on 96. Maybe a full lap, but regardless, now you know for this run ahead, keep the car in 4th. Lift early, coast, clutch, something. You know, save a little bit of gas. You've got 24 laps to do it.
Find your footing and find it well. Rochelle is out of the pit lane. It looks like he's going to beat Moats. No, Brady Moats gets it out of the pit lane nice and easy. You see Tubb there in the background. There is your race leader of Tucker going into turn 3. He's keeping it low. And this is where it's going to happen.
On the money for these guys. This is right where they want to be. This is when they want to pit. So Tucker, Conover, Durheim. Here comes Malone. Kept going. Malone's got extra. Kite comes in. Housden keeps going. Malone, Housden. Baumler. Yes, he's also on the racetrack. So he actually topped off at the end of that caution. He's got the most fuel as he watches his teammate go toe-to-toe with Jacob Malone now down the back straightaway.
Does Gladulich have fuel as well as Skapnicki? Yeah, look,
yes.
There's Gladulich. A little bit further back, you saw him just out of camera shot. This is Housden. The 18 lets him on through.
Currently for the race lead, up on the curb, there goes the 18 and the 81.
It's going to check them up a little bit. They cannot be fighting too hard, as Malone has called out that he will be heading to the pit lane this time by. I think Housden's going to join him.
I would imagine so, yeah. These guys should all be coming in here, I would think, and they will.
Baumler joins him as well. Is Gladulich staying on the racetrack? No, Skapnicki on in as well.
This should be everybody this time. Smith, actually, he keeps going. He also topped off, so he was much like Baumler. He had one more lap than these guys. He can go just a little bit deeper. I don't know that there's much benefit to this, as you see the 9 in the background. That's Dustin Kleba trying to run these guys back down. Senior on now 12 complete. Smith on 25 complete. Kleba on 9 complete. Jones on 11 complete.
So Tucker, Moats, Conover, Rochelle.
Yeah, Tucker's the first driver good on fuel right now to the end. Or we believe good, as Anderson's in the wall off of turn 1. Christenberry pitted 12 laps ago. He's on lap number 12 currently of his run.
So this is where things start coming into play. If this race runs green to the end and we do not get a caution, this would be the ultimate wild card as Cody Smith comes into the pit lane now. It'd be the ultimate wild card for a lot of these drivers who are trying to find a way to get around Dustin Kleba. He has been lights out, the best driver all day long. You cannot deny that. So they have to find a different way. It has to be strategy to get around that 9 car.
And you
right
see,
now,
73 laps led. And he's going to start adding some more. I think he can go at least 10 laps here safely, roughly. I mean, he's not going to make it to the end, so I guess really the pits are open to whatever he wants to pit. I think you go about as long as you can. Maybe not every single lap here on this run, because you could put yourself in a really bad spot pitting too late in this race.
He could short pit.
I think you stay out longer. At least, 5 to 7 laps from here, in case we get a caution. You've
The
got to
longer you
give
stay out, though.
You've got to give yourself a chance to wait on a caution because it's going to be that kind of thing where if you pit now, the caution comes out next lap, and that's just going to hurt you. There's one car out of the pit lane. That was Nick Ham. He runs 22nd currently. He is the first car now that has been lapped in this race. First car one lap down. And there's Jones in the background. It's a distance of about 5 seconds on the racetrack. Also, I see Greg mentioned my 300 RPM comment. I know if you just put the clutch in, it goes down to where it idles. $2,000 in these cars. I think 1,200 in the trucks or 1,300, something like that. But if you put the clutch in and also flip the ignition, turn the ignition off, that's when it drops down to 300. That's what I was thinking of. So, regardless. First car on track that is good on fuel is the number 3, followed by the 8, the 48, the 12, and the 16. And Zach, I think it's about that time. I'm going to delay.
Driver of the day.
I'm going to delay just a little bit longer. We're going to talk about what's upcoming here at Pit Stop TV, the next few broadcasts. Here's a look at it first. There you see, tomorrow night, the BRV Sundance Pro Series heads out to Iowa Speedway. As my internet drops here for a second. I think we're coming back, but I think I'm going to drop out of the session here. Yeah, I just got a session hit. Work device. Yep, there it goes. All right. This is you, Zach.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as Andrew fixes a little technical difficulty on his end, we're going to do my favorite thing to do on Pit Stop TV. It's Pit Stop TV radio style here on all of our streaming platforms. But as we run right now, going into turns 3 and 4, oh my gosh, I said 3 and 4. Turns 3, what turn 4? At Pocono Raceway, Dustin Kleba continues to lead, clicking on to lap 103 as he clicks by the flag stand right now. And we've got 18 laps to go in this race. With such a short time left in the race, though, we're going to go ahead and nominate 4 drivers for Driver of the Day as they run. You've got Kleba in the first spot, Brian Jones second, Hunter Sr. is third, Ronnie Norman is fourth, and Dalton Tucker fifth on the running order. Gonna have to take 4 picks out and away right now. Kleba, I think, is a pretty obvious pick. Hunter Sr. has got to be another pick as well. He has clawed his way up there into the top 5 to be eligible for Driver of the Day as well. 7 spots gained on the day. You want to talk about spots gained, though? Ronnie Norman is another driver to go ahead and nominate for Driver of the Day. He has done a fantastic job to put himself up there into the top 5 as well. I really want to nominate Brian Jones as well. Actually, you know what? I think I am going to nominate Brian Jones. So the top 4, your nominations for Driver of the Day. That's going to be, again, Kleba, Jones, Senior, and Norman. Top 4. As they run lap 104, 17 laps to go. Kleba still your leader, 5.9 seconds over Brian Jones. Hunter Sr. riding in the 3rd spot, another 5 seconds back from Jones. Then it's Norman, Tucker, Christenberry, 6th on back. Then Brady Moats in the 7th spot. Josh Conover is 8th. Chance Durheim is 9th. And Kyle Rochelle, your top 10 as they run. Kleba still out there with a commanding lead. Nobody seems capable of stopping this 9 car. Clicking by the flag stand. 16 laps to go. And, as we were talking about, drivers that need to be good on fuel. Kleba's not going to be good. Hunter Sr. more than likely is not going to be good either. I don't think Ronnie Norman is going to be good either. He is coming up on what would be the end of his fuel run, probably within the next 5 to 6 laps. Andrew had brought it up previously about giving yourself time for a caution, and I think it's time for Kleba to start thinking about short pitting, potentially giving himself some time to catch these drivers. He has done a very good job of building a gap. I think right now he would come out around the 13th to 14th spot, maybe a little bit further back. As we still click on by the flag stand, we are within 15 laps to go. Looking at all of the drivers we have on here.
So Zach, I can interject real quick. Yeah, I was just looking. So the data on my side froze, and the good thing about that, I mean, when I get back in the session, it's gonna redo everything. But the data on my side froze when we dropped out of the session. So Kleba, Jones, Senior, Norman, and Christenberry, and Anderson. Those are the 9, 45, 4, 7, 11, and 33. All still need to pit. Now, it's interesting. You nominated 3 of those guys for Driver of the Day. We'll do better next time. But those guys all need to pit again. The first 5, at least when I dropped out of the session, that were good on fuel. The 3, the 8, the 48, the 12, the 16. And with that, take it back away.
Yes, sir. And as we continue to roll on through, clicking by the flag stand, once again, it's 14 laps to go for Dustin Kleba. No real changes amongst your top 10. We've still got Brian Jones in the second spot. He is 6.7 seconds back, 11.1 seconds back to Hunter Sr. in the third spot. And then it's Norman, Tucker, your top 5, Christenberry, Durheim, Conover, Moats, and Rochelle, your top 10. So a little bit of changing as Anderson has pulled out of the pit lane. He is side-by-side with our race leader. Through the tunnel turn, Kleba clears the lap car, stays in front, but still side-by-side off of the tunnel turn, down into turn 3. Anderson is going to fight to get this lap back and keep himself in the hunt. So staying on the lead lap, that keeps Nick Ham in the free pass position. And Kleba going to be low off of turn number 3, but he stays on the racetrack, sucking up to the back bumper of the 33 to save a little bit. With 13 laps to go in this race so far, he has been hanging on for dear life to keep himself in contention. He has been dominating so far, and he wants to stay in it. Looking through the rest of the field, you're looking at Durheim running in the 7th spot. He is under pressure from Josh Conover and Brady Moats going down the front straightaway into turn number 1. He's got Christenberry just up the road in front of him, giving him a little bit of a tow. Not by much, though. Keeping him in front of the 48 car.
Battle for 4th here, Zach. Ronnie Norman going to lose that spot to Dalton Tucker. Norman still has to pit, as does Christenberry in the background. Tucker is good on fuel-ish. Right? So he's the best of the drivers that we believe should be good to the end, but they could be close. They could be, around a lap margin here short on gas, but they can at least get to the end of this race rather than having to pit one more time. As here we go, pits. Norman going to come in.
Christenberry.
There you see Senior, Christenberry in the background. So the 4, 7, and 11 pit there. That means still the 9 and the 45 still need to pit. Those are the final 2. I'm actually very thankful to ATVO. Something they've changed lately. I actually kept all the data, and so I can actually still see the last pit lap for these guys. That is huge. Mega shout out to ATVO, who we use to handle the graphics program and display and such of the broadcast. That is huge. That did not used to be that way. That's a new thing.
When do these guys respond, Andrew? When do they file into the pit lane and take that service to get to the end? They've got to go with fuel only if this race continues green, because that's the only way they're not going to lose a heck of a lot of time.
You could probably do 2.
Jones.
You could probably do 2. I think, keep in mind, these guys are taking about a half tank of fuel still. If they can go 24 and they're pitting with 12, 11 to go, they've got to put about a half tank of fuel in. You may as well. And I guess that's 40% of a real tank, but you still, I think, can go for 2 tires. Let's see what Jones does here. Is it 2 or none? None. No, there we go, 2.
2 tires. Does he stay with 2 or does he go for 4?
If you take 4, yeah,
Waiting on gas, yeah.
You're burying yourself if you take 4 tires here. So Kleba now back on the racetrack. The best of these drivers to have just pitted is Brian Jones. He's working back onto the racetrack currently. There he is in turn 1. He is 16th. Meanwhile, Kleba continues on. He's got to wait on this caution. He's doing everything he can here to extend this run as long as he can in case a caution comes out. Man, oh man.
Keeping an eye on the field, Andrew. The closest fight on track is Moats, Conover, and Durheim. And that's the fight up into the top 5. Everyone else is very spread out. I think Housen and Tubb and Baumler are pretty close together. But this would still be the closest fight on the racetrack.
This is for third, fourth, and fifth currently. It'll be second, third, and fourth.
Into the box.
Once Kleba pits, and yeah, here we go. Kleba into the pit lane. He had to. That's 22, now 23 laps complete. He might be able to warrant going fuel only here. He's a little bit closer to the end than the other guys were. And that might have been the other reason to stay out a little bit longer. Can he do this on fuel only? No.
Just take a little bit of gas. Oh, he's taking 2 tires. I was going to say, if you take a little bit of gas, maybe you can still come out in the top 10. Gladulich is going to go on by. There goes Kleba.
Here comes Skavnicki, followed by Smith. This is going to drop Kleba down to around 15th spot. Caden Henry Oaks, the next behind him. So 14th for Dustin now, as Dalton Tucker looks like he might have another one in the bag. He's already got, what, 3-4 wins this season?
Just about.
It's been a couple of weeks since we've covered these guys, so I don't recall exactly. 4 wins this season coming into tonight's race. Toss in the All-Star, make it 5. Does he have enough fuel to hang on up here? Certainly,
gained by Durheim.
Not having a draft partner is going to work against him. That might help these guys like Conover, Moats, and Malone.
Couple of tenths here and there being gained by Durheim. You have to think, is that 3-car pushing the clutch in? Does he have to save in any way, shape, or form? I don't think so, but you never truly know, Andrew.
It'll be 7 laps to go when they get back to the stripe.
Just listening in on the radio, it's all Durheim making some moves to kind of break the toe on that 48 car. As you hear, the clutch is going in for that 3-car. But listening in on driver radio, Conover's not pushing. He's just letting it roll.
Here's the onboard for Chase Durheim trying to chase down Dalton Tucker. About 2.3 seconds the gap between them, and he is not putting the clutch in here in turn 1. Contrast that to what Tucker's doing every single time, putting the clutch in, letting it rev down to burn less fuel in the corner. Honestly, Zach, sometimes working the clutch actually helps you go faster. It does actually help cool the engine a little bit because you're not turning as many RPMs in the middle of the corner. That said, you're also not spinning the fan as fast to pull air in, but you're going 150 miles an hour still. It brings in air pretty quickly. So, hey, maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's just keeping the driver active that keeps you fast. I don't know. But this is the battle for second, third, and fourth, and fifth. There's a battle behind these guys, Baumler and Housden with Tubb. How about Tubb back in the top 10? You know, it was not too long ago. We were looking at his car thinking, oh man, he's junk. I recall saying exactly that. That car was junk at one point. He is back into the top 10. This is not quite the highest he's been, but close to it. 9th currently. Yeah, he's still got some damage, but this is driver of the day material for me, personally. And Kite in the top 10, he's also worth mentioning. Of course, he was skewered on the pit wall a little while ago, and now here he is, top 10, maybe 11th at the moment. Gladulich to the inside. Still, a great recovery drive on a Kite. This could be the caution that Cleveland needed. They almost made contact.
They tried.
We could still get a yellow. This race is so far from over still. 5 laps to go for Tucker across the stripe that time. There's the gap up ahead. It continues to grow.
It was 2.3 the last time by. Now it is 2.5, 2.6. Rolling on through. Durheim second, Conover third. Moats, Malone, you talked about him, Andrew. Malone in that 18 car has really shown his stuff. He started towards the back. He's making a move now on Freddie Moats for fourth. Into the fourth spot, the 18 car has shown some amazing raw pace. You know, we talk about strategy all race long, but the raw pace we've seen out of the 18 car, it's impressive.
I told you he'd be in the conversation to win this race. Maybe oversold him a slight bit, but he has been great tonight. One of the higher I ratings in this field. Yeah, I mean, we might be talking to him after this race. He is that close to Conover and Durheim. He could still pass either one of them. We'll see.
Look at the lap times. He was faster than Durheim and Conover.
And Tucker.
Not Tucker. Tucker was a little bit quicker. Wait, no, I'm looking at best lap. Hold on.
Yeah.
My goodness, where is my brain right now?
Last lap is on the left there. So Tucker's last lap of 55.49, Malone's 55.41. So, Malone is faster than the lead of that lap. He could still have something, and he did pit a lap later than all 3 drivers ahead of him. So he can afford to be downshifting here. He can afford to be pushing the car as hard as he wants. Genuinely though, look at the run Conover and Durheim just got out of that corner. They got out of the corner better. I don't think downshifting is helping anything other than to break into turn 3. It can help you stop the car a little faster, turn it a little bit maybe, but I think you should upshift sooner, honestly. It looked like those guys in 4th had a better run off the corner. He gained though in turn 1. That was a good corner.
Slightly starting to catch Durheim, or not Durheim, Tucker. They closed a little bit there, but Durheim, I keep saying Durheim, I don't know why, but Tucker pulled it back going into the tunnel turn. Remember, these guys all pitted on the money. They should be good to the end. It's Tucker that we are still in concern of because he pitted 1 lap shy of where we expected these guys to be able to run.
No. So Tucker, Durheim, and Conover pitted on the same lap. Moats and Rochelle pitted a lap earlier than those 3. Malone pitted a lap after the 3, the 16, and the 48. So the 3, the 16, and the 48, they're on the same lap number on this run. Malone's got more fuel. Moats and Rochelle have less.
How's it all going to play out? Conover, big misstep right there off of turn number 1. But he puts himself into the 2nd spot in front of Durheim. Malone to the back bumper of the 16 car.
Rochelle, I think he's not out. I saw him slowing. I know he's got less than most, but he is dropping spots. Moats has also dropped off the pace he's trying to save. We are going to hit white flag here. There it is for Dalton Tucker. He leads us to the white flag brought to you by Whiplash Simcams. How far can he go in this final lap? Does anybody run out here? No clutch that time for Tucker. He feels he's good to the end.
All in on the last lap, Andrew. It's a clear racetrack out in front. They're spreading out behind. He's still extending the gap, 2.5 seconds back to Conover. Malone makes the move on Durheim for the 3rd spot going down into the tunnel turn. That 18 car has moved himself into the podium positions. He will be talking to us at the end of the night, Andrew. But through turn 3, it's all Tucker in that free car. He's going to add another win to his name this season.
Dalton Tucker off of turn number 3, or is it 5? And to the stripe at Pocono Raceway, it is Dalton Tucker winning at Pocono. Runs out just after the stripe, but he gets just enough to get to the end. Oh, did Durheim get Malone? No. Okay.
He did.
No. It reset there. It scared me for a moment. I thought he got him. Wow.
It was close, though. It was very close. Guys running out of gas, coming past the start-finish line.
Just enough in the tank for everybody up front. And the first of those drivers that had to pit twice, that was Kleba. He finishes 10th.
I do wonder if Tucker has pushed the clutch in, actually, to see if he's got enough gas left in the tank to maybe do a burnout.
That could be it. Everybody swore there would be one more caution. This is exactly why you've got to pay attention to those numbers to work the race in reverse, should it go green. It wasn't quite the fuel race we've seen in years past, but it sure was close, as here we go. Onto the front straightaway for Dalton Tucker. He will park it for the 5th time in a points-paying race this season.
He's got enough.
There he goes. How much does he have?
He is well in first gear.
He's got plenty of gas. Plenty.
Whew.
He could have done a green-white checkered.
I think that's it right there.
He could have gone
He's
for a
out.
green-white checkered. Dalton Tucker,
Well, we don't know that.
I suppose. I do want to look back just across the finish. I was really trying to find a good camera there for the run to the stripe, and I just couldn't. I felt like an octopus with 30 tentacles trying to find one. So here's a run to the stripe. Oh, this is still white flag. No, here we go. Checkers. And there goes Tucker across the line. I just wanted to pay that off. We'll take a look back at your unofficial race results and recap this one here from Pocono Raceway. I think easily, as far as the strategy goes, Zach, the best player on that side won the race. Obviously, I think the fastest driver here this evening finished 10th. But Dalton Tucker wins at Pocono Raceway after 300 long miles here in Pennsylvania. Josh Conover second, Jacob Malone third. We'll be talking to each of those three drivers here in just a few moments. Chase Durheim fourth, Brady Motes fifth. Gavin Baumler, how about a recovery there? He was spun around at one point in this race, I believe. 7th for Ryan Housden, 8th for Kyle Tubb. That is still such a comeback for him. Rochelle even was spun around early in this race. He finishes 9th as Kleba will take 10th.
11th goes to Gladulus. He was fighting there at the end, trying to see if he could potentially put it in there to the top 10. He was fighting with Dunlop Kite, who finishes right behind him in the 12th spot, but Kleba ended up putting it in front of both of them. Cody Smith ends up 13th with Brian Jones 14th on the day. Caton Henry Oaks 15th, and Skabnicki 16th on the day. Hunter Sr. ends up 17th with Jake Christenberry in the 18th spot. Ronnie Norman ends up 19th, and Cody Anderson is going to round out your top 20. We didn't have that many left after all was said and done. 21st was Ham and 25th was George. Those are the two cars finishing on the lead lap. And then only 3 cars did not finish on the lead lap. That was Joey Stats, who was 8 laps down, Jordan White, who was 48 laps down, and Caden Perkins, who was 88 laps down. So 25 cars, 22 finishers, Andrew. I think that's a solid amount of drivers to make it to the end of the race on the lead lap.
Technically 23 finished. I would give Stats the finish considering he made it to the end of the race.
Say lead lap.
Well, but he took the checkered flag. I want to give him credit there, but let's bring in the race winner this evening, Dalton Tucker. For the 5th time in a points-paying race this season, Dalton, you are in victory lane, and we talked a whole lot about fuel races and fuel strategy here at Pocono. It seems like it always comes down to it in some kind of way, and sure enough, it did, but not in the way I think we're used to, right? Used to guys stretching fuel. You really just had to hit your numbers from that lap 72 caution to the end.
Yeah, I was clutching for a good little while just to make sure I was safe, and honestly, I don't know if I really needed to. I probably could have just lifted pretty early and still made it that way, but it was it wasn't the way I thought it would end. Not with how the race started, and it seemed like I was always behind the 8 ball at the beginning, and I had a lot of speed, just couldn't really make anything work with it. And when when the last caution came and you kind of could split it and stretch it, that's when I knew we had a shot, because a lot of the guys stayed out.
And it all, of course, pays off for another win this season. This is going to be big as far as keeping you towards the top of the standings. Is there an actual push, I guess, to get to Hunter Senior in the standings, or are you really just trying to mass up however many wins you can get?
I mean, I don't want to be in first because I'm competitive, but I don't know. It's a long season, like I've been saying pretty much all season. So I mean, there's a lot that can happen. I've had a handful of races where I finished absolutely terrible, and it hurts you. And really, I just need that from Hunter. I don't wish anything bad on anybody, but it's hard to make up points when a guy really finishes consistently. And I'll make up some tonight. I think he finished kind of lower to near 20 or somewhere near there. So it'll be a nice game tonight, but we just need more races like that. And I mean, when he's consistent like that, it's tough to make up those points.
Coming up after this evening's race, we're out to Michigan next week, then Sonoma, Chicagoland, Montreal, Daytona, then back to Pocono. We do come back here pretty quickly, but otherwise there's really no finding a groove in this next handful of races. Obviously, it definitely feels like you're the championship favorite right now. 5 wins now to anybody. I mean, the closest is Senior at 3. So, is there, I guess... How do I frame this question? Does that concern you in any way, or is it status quo? I mean, are you even worried about the variety of tracks coming up?
I don't really think about, I guess, what the tracks are. Just, you take one week at a time. Whatever race is coming up, you prepare for it, you show up, you just try to stay clean and get good finishes. With this old point format, I mean, you need points, and a top 5 is a whole lot better than wrecking or not finishing. So I mean, you don't have to win, you don't have to necessarily get a podium every time, but it helps when you do. It helps when you get max points with bonus lead laps and most laps. So it helps, but really you just got to stay consistent.
Hey, good to talk to you, Dalton, as always. Only 20 laps left. That does not tell the full story. Congratulations.
Appreciate it. And before I go, I definitely got to give a shout out to Ryan. Without really his call under that last caution, I don't think our team would have finished like we did. And I was debating staying out, and luckily he kind of talked us into all pitting, and I think we all finished top 6 or top 7, somewhere in there. So good job by DEI tonight, and look forward to Michigan.
Easily a good call to pit when you guys did. So Dalton Tucker grabs a big one here at Pocono this evening, Zach. And your guy that you were talking to, boy, he's the league owner. He should be used to this thing to come and talk to us after the race, but he's nowhere to be found. There he is. I just dragged him up. Here is Josh Conover, who finishes second this evening at Pocono Raceway.
Yeah, it's that guy that ends up finishing in the second spot. Josh Conover. I said I would do it, and I did do it. But you finished second. You had a really good run. You were one of the guys that opted to do that one-stop strategy at the end. What do you think you could have done to try and potentially catch Dalton Tucker?
Wreck him at some point. Yeah, when he was out front, you're not catching that one, especially when you're trying to save fuel. So kind of knew it was a fight for second at that point.
Now, Andrew and I both had our debates on where the fuel number was overall. Where were you at on fuel, and how much did you have to save towards the end in that final run?
I think about a lap. I think I pitted with 25 to go, or maybe coming to 24, and I needed about maybe half a lap or 3/4 of a lap, sorry. And by the end, I think I was like a lap to the good, so I saved a little too much, but Dalton clearly had a lot more fuel than I did, so it wouldn't have, like I said, wouldn't have really mattered if I would have pushed another lap earlier or, waited or whatever the case it may have been. But We'll take a P2 with how the night started.
Yeah, P2 is nothing to shy away from, and floating back to what Andrew asked our race winner as well. With the interesting layout of tracks coming up, you've got intermediates, speedways, road courses. How do you feel the next, say, 5 tracks at least cater to your driving style?
I'm a big road course guy, so I love seeing Sonoma and even Canada coming up. I guess Montreal. And then obviously Daytona. Everybody loves Daytona, and it should probably be the new one, unfortunately, because the old one doesn't have lights, or they do, and they just don't pay the electric bill for them. Michigan's going to be a toss-up. Last year, that was a fuel mileage race where guys kind of did what we did tonight and pitted like 2 or 3 laps before, you could technically make it, and they ended up saving it and won the race that way. And then Chicagoland, I actually forget from last year, so we'll see. Like I said, I love road courses, so they're kind of, I guess, my style, but some of these guys in here are crazy talented. I mean, Dalton's clicked off 3 in a row now, and I truthfully wouldn't expect it to stop anytime soon.
Well, I can't imagine that anybody would be upset to roll into Daytona and watch you lose in another photo finish. Sorry, had to make the joke. But we've got a lot of great races coming up. I know you are still searching for victory lane since Darlington, we'll say. But you ran a great race. It was good to see you running out front. Hopefully we'll be talking to you again. Hopefully I'll have some nicer things to say. And you, sir, have a great rest of your night. Congratulations on that second place finish.
I appreciate you, buddy. All I'm going to say back is I don't want to hear nothing out of you until you catch me in any of the fantasy leagues that we're doing.
Hey, guess what? You can let my birds sit in your nest. Josh Conover, your second place finish on the night. Andrew, I think you're standing by with our third place finisher.
Yeah, somebody we don't know yet here at Pit Stop TV, Jacob Malone. He led practice this evening, warm-up, if you will, I guess, and I made a comment in our production chat with the league admins. Hey, look at this 5,200 iRating guy leading practice. That's pretty cool. 5,000 iRating Gober, I guess, Jacob. I had you pegged from that point on as somebody to watch this evening. You took a little while to make my words come true, but eventually you got up here. How did you get to this third place finish?
Well, the main problem was pit road. I kept making mistakes on there, and it's just silly mistakes over and over again. I'd pass a bunch of cars, make a mistake, pass a bunch of cars, kind of get stuck at that 7th place mark. Basically my strategy for the last run was just to save for the first part, and then go all out for the second round and hopefully catch them by it's going to be a huge gap I had to make up. I made up most of it, not enough. So yeah, I was able to rally to third by just kind of using the first run as a heavy save opportunity to go that extra lap.
And let's be real, first race of the season, obviously you're not going for any kind of points or anything here. You're listed as an owner point driver. So how many more times do we see you in the number 18 this summer, this season?
As much as they let me, I'm still trying to learn the car, of course. It's not a car I'm very familiar with. So doing everything I can to, get that seat time in and put on a show, hopefully, for the viewers at home.
You definitely did that this evening, and even that drift there off of turn 3 that I guess almost cost you third place. Hey, it was a lot of fun to watch you, get to know you a little bit. Is there anything that we should know about Jacob Malone going into the summer stretch? A bunch of very diverse racetracks. From here we go to Michigan, then Sonoma, Chicagoland, then Montreal. I think Daytona comes up right after that. So in this next set of 6, 8, 10 races, is there something we should know about Jacob Malone, a racetrack we should be watching out for you at?
I haven't even looked at the schedule.
Here, I got you. Here, watch the screen share. Boom, schedule in front of you.
Oh, I'm gonna look at that right now. So we got Michigan. Michigan should be fun. Sonoma. I'm usually pretty good on the road courses. I don't know about this car. I think the one race you're gonna have to look out for me is Indianapolis. I seem to always find my way to the front of that track, no matter which car.
Oh. I like that call. Indy's fun in stock cars these days. I like that call out. So, hey, Jacob, we're watching for you now. Race 21. Best of luck when we get there, and hopefully we're talking to you a few times until we get there.
Thank you, man. It was good talking to you guys. Have a good one.
There you go, Jacob Malone, brand new to us here. Sounds like he's got some past races with the series when they were running different cars, Zach, but good to check in with Jacob, hear from him here this evening. I really wish we could have talked to Chase, and I think Chase Durheim is still looking for his first top 3 of the season, or maybe second, something like that. Like, he's been so consistent, so good this season, Zach, but just rarely finishes at the very front of the field, unfortunately. Still looking for that first win as Chase Durheim. I think tonight, though, was a really good race for him, and I think this is a season-building kind of evening for Chase. And I mean, give him a couple more weeks. Maybe we're talking to him, and a Michigan that would fit in for the 16, or a Chicagoland, or something like that before this summer is done. But we just looked at the schedule there briefly, Zach. Let's do that one more time here. Next up for these guys, Michigan International Speedway. That is a really fast track. Of course, we are running the legacy version of Michigan, so a little bit bumpier, a little bit slower, I guess, but still a really fast racetrack. Higher banked than California. It is a bit more technical, I feel like, but also a bit more kind of just send it, because you've got a little more banking to lean on. I mean, it is a wild track, and I do expect these guys over 200 into turn 1 next week.
As do I. Moving on from Michigan, though, Sonoma, that's one race that I'm looking forward to. I love seeing these guys on road courses, and hey, you never know. I'm trying to convince Conover to let me run a little bit.
I can tell you, if you get allowed into any of these races, it will be a plate track.
Well, I can tell you for certain, I don't think I'm going to be getting into any races soon with the comments that we traded. We talk mad smack to each other all the time, but I can assure you, ladies and gentlemen, that Conover and I love each other 100%. It's a love-hate relationship. Don't go reading too much into it.
Well, I'll let that one marinate, and we're going to award the driver of the day to a driver. I mean, I do think in the end this guy kind of deserves it. Maybe not my choice, but Dustin Kleba, driver of the day this evening. I don't necessarily disagree with that. He led all the laps. 86 there. So certainly, I think had this race come down to just straight up driver talent, speed, precision, skill tonight, I think certainly Dustin's in the conversation, if not winning this thing. I think it's very hard to disagree with that. 90 laps led nearly of 120. Clearly, there was a best driver here this evening, and it was the number 9. But from here, as we were trying to look at earlier on until whatever happened with internet connectivity, there we go. The upcoming broadcast here on the channel. There you see, tomorrow night we're racing at Iowa for the BRB Sundance Pro Series. And then Wednesday, we actually have the Regal Promotions 305 Nationals, as we're taking 305 sprint cars out to Peevely, Missouri, I-55, or Federated Auto Parts Raceway Park, I think, I-55. Yeah, it's a jumble of a name. Regardless, it's a very fun racetrack, a tight little bull ring. 305 sprint cars is going to be a lot of fun. June 3rd, watch out for that this Wednesday evening. And then next week, of course, we head out to Michigan. Zach, a lot of great places to watch all these broadcasts coming up.
Absolutely. PitstopTV.com, Facebook.com/PitstopTV, X.com, Instagram.com/pit_stop_TV, TikTok.com/PitstopTV1, Twitch.tv/pit_stop_TV, YouTube.com/PitstopTV1, and X.com/PitstopTV_. A lot of great racing coming up. A lot of cool things happening here on Pitstop TV. Obviously, I won't be present tomorrow. May or may not be present for Wednesday. Got Creator Series kind of overlapping with that, but a lot of great racing we're expecting to see here on Pitstop TV. I know you're excited. I'm excited. But the summer is upon us, and schedules will be busy.
Yeah, we've got a lot coming up this summer. We have the return of the Sarah National Tour coming up very soon. We've got NARL coming back with Porsche Cup in just a couple of weeks, I guess the end of this month. So a lot going on here in the month of June and into July and August, and a lot to look forward to, certainly, on the channel. I will say, this will be the final BRB Sundance Pro Series race that we have until August. You see, we will be in action Monday, okay, June 8th. Whether I do it or I have a backup, I'm not sure yet. Summer Shootout at Charlotte Motor Speedway that Zach competes in begins June 8th. Tomorrow's a practice, so Zach will be down at Charlotte Motor Speedway in his Legends car, sponsored by Ideal Pest and Ideal Canine. Zach, I think your socials, right? Zach Murdis Racing is where people can keep up with that. That all, again, kind of kicks off tomorrow with the practice day, and then racing begins June 8th. There are 2 Monday dates. Those are June 8th and June 29th. There's a chance we have somebody in my place for those races, but I think likely I will be here still for those Mondays for NORA as we continue on. But I will be doing the Tuesdays at Charlotte Motor Speedway this summer. For Cookout Summer Shootout. So you can catch those broadcasts on Flow. Should be a lot of fun. Yeah, it'll be my 8th year of shootouts. I think you're on what, 4 or 5?
6.
There you go. Well, it's been a lot of fun. Thanks for joining us this evening. You see, of course, the races that are coming up for us next. A big thank you to our partners, as always, with the series, especially Harpoon Design, kind of leading the charge. And our partners here that we haven't even gotten to yet this evening: Whiplash Simcams, MX Wraps, ATVO, Murdis Esports, CC's Business, the North American Racing League, Whiplash Creative, and TZO Designs. And that will do it for us this evening from Pocono Raceway. Again, thanks so much for tuning in. We will see you all next time, hopefully tomorrow night, for BRB action at Iowa. Of course, we'll kick off the evening with the MXWraps.com pre-race show, and then we've got a whole bunch of racing on a short track in ARCA Menard Series cars tomorrow. Do not miss it. We'll see you then. Otherwise, we'll see you Monday, a week away, at Michigan, Motor City. I guess close to Motor City-ish. Should be a lot of fun. We'll see you then.